Hello, everyone, and welcome into the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball here throughout the 2016 season. Today, we come to you live from Marion, Illinois, as your Washington Wild Things take on the Southern Illinois Miners in Game 1 of their three-game series. Hi, everyone. I'm Zach Ziegler, taking you through the entire 2016 season for your Washington Wild Things. Wild Things just took 2 of 3 from the River City Rascals, winning last night's ball game by the score of 3-0. Gonna have a recap of that ball game for you. Also, a sit-down with Wild Things infielder Jamadric Magruder. Magruder drove in the first run last night for the Wild Things. Wild Things were held hitless until the 6th inning before getting that run across the plate, so Magruder will talk to us about that. Also going to take a look at lineups and have your pitching matchup in this one. It's all coming up right here on the Washington Wild Things pregame show here on the MSA Sports Network. As we said, the Washington Wild Things took 2 of 3 from the River City Rascals in their last series by winning yesterday's ball game by a score of 3-0. Trevor Foss was on the mound for your Wild Things, and he was dealing like he has been all season. Faced 4 men in the first inning. Got Alexi Colon to ground out. Josh Ludy would ground out before Josh Silver walked, and Kyle Goodell popped out to end the inning. About the same exact inning for the Wild Things in the first, as Jamadric Magruder walked to start things, but then Ricky Rodriguez struck out, Chris Grayson flew out, and Dave Popkins grounded out to end that inning. So both teams sent 4 men to the plate, and through the first 4 innings, both pitchers really dealing. With the first 3, nobody gave a hit. The first hit in the ball game coming in the 4th inning when Josh Ludy hit a leadoff single off of Trevor Foss, but then the very next batter, Josh Silver, would hit into a 4-6-3 double play that erased Josh Ludy from the bases and put nobody on and 2 outs. Kyle Goodell would be hit by a pitch. Will Martin would walk, and then Clint Freeman would fly out to end that inning. So 1 hit, but no damage there. The Washington Wild Things would pick up their first hit in inning number 6 after Kyle Pollock grounded out. Austin Wobrock came through with a double, and then Jamadric Magruder came to the plate. Magruder lining a ball past the outstretched glove of diving first baseman Will Martin and into right field for a base hit. Wobrock would score, and that gave the Wild Things a 1-0 lead. Then Ricky Rodriguez on the next pitch would ground out. Jamadric Magruder was running, however, so he was able to get the second with 2 men out, and then Chris Grayson, a ground ball at the middle, scored Magruder and gave your Wild Things a 2-0 lead in the bottom of the 6th. Dave Popkins would ground out to end the inning. Inning number 7, the Wild Things would add on again. Logan Uxa struck out to start things, then Grant Fink popped out. Jimmy Yezzo then came through with a 2-out single. Kyle Pollock followed with a single of his own. And with runners at first and second and 2 outs, Austin Wobrock laced an RBI single into left field, scoring Yezzo and giving the Wild Things a 3-0 lead. Jamadric Magruder would hit into a fielder's choice to end that inning. That was all on the day for River City starter Tim Coons. Coons was very good as well. Went 7 innings, gave up 3 runs, all earned on 6 hits, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts for Coons on the night. But unfortunately, his offense just couldn't get anything going against starting pitcher Trevor Foss. Foss in the 8th inning retired River City 1-2-3. They made a bid to come back in inning number 9, but Foss got Alexi Colon to fly out, and Josh Ludy grounded out to start the inning. Then Josh Silver was hit by a pitch, and a single by Kyle Goodell put runners at first and third with 2 men out before Foss got Will Martin to ground into a 6-4 double play to end the game. Foss picked up his 8th win of the season, improves to 8-3. Also his 8th complete game on the year, putting him 1 complete game shy of the Frontier League record. The record is 9, set back in the 2000 season. So Trevor Foss's next time out, he will look to get his 9th complete game and tie the record. The loss in that one went to Tim Coons. Coons went to 3-4 on the season. Coons pitched very well, however, for River City. Just faced a tough task in Trevor Foss. And when Foss is on, it's always a rough day for the opposing pitcher. With the win, the Wild Things improved to 29-26 on the year. They currently sit a half game behind the Joliet Slammers in the Frontier League East. Now, the Southern Illinois Miners played the Joliet Slammers last night. Their game, however, got suspended. It was in the 7th inning, and the score was tied at 7 before the rains came down in Joliet and forced them to suspend that game. That game will be made up later in August. So if the Wild Things win and the Joliet Slammers lose, your Washington Wild Things will be in sole possession of first place in the Frontier League East standings. So we'll be watching for that all night. We'll give you updates from the Joliet game. Joliet tonight, we will tell you later who they are taking on as they are playing as well. The Wild Things chasing the Joliet Slammers, currently a half game behind Joliet coming into tonight's action. We're going to take our first break here on the MSA Sports Network Washington Wild Things pregame show. When we come back, we'll have our sit-down with Wild Things infielder Jamadric Magruder. Magruder driving in a run yesterday and going 1 for 3 in the game against River City. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network. You're listening to the Washington Wild Things pregame show, currently joined by Wild Things infielder Jamadric Magruder. And Jamadric, you drove in your team's first run in yesterday's ball game. Austin Wobrock delivered the first hit in the 6th inning, then you came up. What was your approach after Wobrock got that first knock and was standing on second?
I was just trying to hit the curveball, honestly. The guy had got me to ground out to first. In the previous at-bat on the curveball, I thought I looked pretty bad on it, and I had a pretty good idea they were going to come back to it, so I just kind of sat on it and didn't miss it. So I ended up driving in the run, and it ended up winning one of the important ones, so that was good.
And going through your first 2 at-bats, you walked the first time up, grounded out the second time up. Were there any adjustments mentally you made in the dugout preparing to go into that third at-bat?
Yeah, definitely. And that third at-bat was one of the most crucial at-bats of the day. And like I said, the guy had already beat me before on the curveball, and I just didn't want to get beat by the curveball. So I just kind of sat on it and got it and ended up coming through. So it was great for the team.
And you're facing a tough pitcher in Tim Coons yesterday, another very talented pitching staff here in Southern Illinois. What's gone into your preparation taking from last series against Southern Illinois into this series here today?
I'm not going to change my approach at all. I'm just going to try to stick to the same and what I do best. I feel like that's what helps the team the most. So I'm just going to try to just, stay to my stuff and let the game come to me.
And finally, do you have any keys for victory for today's matchup? Game 1 of a big series. You guys half game out of first place coming in tonight. What do you have to do to get the victory?
Just play hard and, like I said, let the game come to us. I feel like we're a strong team. We'll play good baseball, good strong baseball, and get the win.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute, that keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise. We insure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. You're listening to the Washington Wild Things pregame show as we get you ready for Game 1 of this 3-game series between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners from Rent One Park in Marion, Illinois. Game 1 out here against Southern Illinois. Last time these two teams met, it did not go well for your Washington Wild Things. The Wild Things got swept by the Southern Illinois Miners, faced a very good pitching staff. First 2 games in that series, very close, 4-2 loss for the Wild Things in Game 1 of that series, a 4-3 loss in Game 2 of that series. Then the Sunday game, it was a back-and-forth type of game offensively. The Southern Illinois Miners hitting the ball early and often. They got out to an 11-0 lead against starting pitcher Chase Cunningham. Cunningham turning in his worst start of the year in that one, going 4 innings, giving up 7 runs, all earned in the contest. The Miners were taking an 11-0 lead. However, the Wild Things would fight back towards the latter half of that game as they would score 7 runs in the final 3 innings. They had a rally going in the 9th as Dave Popkins gave him a 2-run homer. Jamadric Magruder hit a solo home run for your Wild Things. But after that, the offense kind of stalled out and the score would stay at 11-7. So the Miners a perfect 3-0 record against your Washington Wild Things this season. Wild Things trying to reverse that curse and win here in Rent One Park tonight. As we said, they sit a half game behind the Joliet Slammers for first place in the Frontier League East. Joliet currently taking on the Florence Freedom, and Florence has a 2-1 lead in that game in the top of the third. So if the Joliet Slammers lose, and actually now in the top of the third, Joliet just got a 3-run homer. It's now 4-2 Joliet. If Joliet loses and your Washington Wild Things win, the Wild Things will have sole possession of first place after tonight's game. So we'll see if Joliet can lose, and then your Wild Things can pick up the victory. As the teams are getting ready to take the field, going to go over the lineups for both teams. First, for your visiting Washington Wild Things, the Wild Things enter this one with a record of 29-26, led by their manager Greg Langbent. They'll lead off with their second baseman Jamadrick Magruder. Batting second, designated hitter Ricky Rodriguez. Hitting third in center field, Chris Grayson. Batting fourth, right fielder Dave Popkins. Hitting fifth and catching, Zach Fish. Batting sixth at first base, Jimmy Yezzo. Hitting seventh at third, Grant Fink. Batting eighth in left field, Andrew Heck. And batting ninth at shortstop, Austin Wobrock. On the mound for your Wild Things tonight is starting pitcher Chase Cunningham. Cunningham enters this one with a record of 3-5 and a 3.78 ERA. For the Southern Illinois Miners, they line up like this. They come into the game with a record of 39-17, led by their manager Mike Pinto. They'll lead off with their center fielder Aaron Gates. Batting second, designated hitter Shane Kennedy. Hitting third at second base, Craig Massey. Batting fourth, first baseman Alex De Leon. Batting fifth in right field, Nolan Early. Hitting sixth at third, Steve Marino. Batting seventh in left field, Kurt Wirtz Jr. Batting eighth behind the plate, Riley Moore. And batting ninth in at shortstop, Francisco Rosario. On the mound for the Southern Illinois Miners is Jarrett Miller. Miller 4-2 with a 3.04 ERA. The same matchup that we had last Sunday when Chase Cunningham turned in that poor start, went 4 innings, gave up 7 runs, all earned, 7 hits, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Jarrett Miller wasn't as good as he usually is either. He went 6 2/3 in that one, gave up 4 runs, 3 earned on 9 hits, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts, even though he picked up the win. So we'll see if Chase Cunningham can straighten things out on the mound tonight and work things out and try to get the victory in tonight's ball game. Prior to last night's start, to last time out on Sunday, Chase Cunningham, had not given up more than 4 more earned runs or fewer in 5 straight starts. However, he also had the string during that string of 4 straight games where he got one run of support or fewer. Last time out, got a lot of run support, but just couldn't get it done on the mound. We'll see if tonight he can come back and give your Washington Wild Things a chance to win this ball game. Jarrett Miller on the other side has been very good this season for the Miners as well. Really, this whole Southern Illinois Miners staff has been good. Miller enters this one with a record of 4-2. A 3.04, features a fastball, slider, changeup, and he uses it effectively, getting hitters to look silly. He also features a curveball that he'll try to get swings and misses on. So the Wild Things have seen Jarrett Miller before and look to defeat him in tonight's game. Southern Illinois Miners are being introduced on the field right now. Going to take one more break. When we come back, we'll have the national anthem and your first pitch. It's all coming up right here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfield playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. The Southern Illinois Miners still being introduced on the field, getting you ready for Game 1 of this 3-game series between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Chase Cunningham on the mound for your Wild Things, taking on Jarrett Miller of the Southern Illinois Miners. Game 1 of a 3-game series. Wild Things, as we said, got swept the last time these two teams met, so they're trying to reverse the curse and win here at Rent One Park. Last year when the Wild Things came here to Rent One Park, they lost 2 out of 3 games. So look to win the series here tonight. Game 1 of the 3-game series, and we are getting ready for the national anthem here from Rent One Stadium. Right now we're going to send you down to the field for the playing of that national anthem. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the starting lineup for your first place Southern Illinois Miners. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we would like you to please rise and remove your hats. Tonight we would like to take a moment to remember the life of a very special Miners fan who recently lost his life. Our hearts and prayers go out to the family of Larry Basin. Larry was a 10-year season ticket holder with the Miners and the father to our very own host, Mother Michelle Baxter. At this time, we ask that you please take a moment of silence in his memory. Thank you. Now at this time, please remain standing and face the flag located in center field for our national anthem. Tonight, singing the national anthem is Casey Puckett.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through that night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Enjoy shopping and dining at one of Ohio Valley Mall's 100 merchants, including Boscov's, MC Sports, Hibbett Sports, Pat Catan's, Christopher and Banks, Men's Warehouse, and many more. Check out the new Buckle Store. And coming soon, Buffalo Wild Wings. If the little ones need a break, head to the Kids Zone, sponsored by Ohio Valley Medical Center and East Ohio Regional Hospital, your community hospitals.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, ready for baseball here in Game 1 of this 3-game series. The Southern Illinois Miners take the field like this. They line up outfield left to right. It's Kurt Wirtz Jr., Aaron Gates, and Nolan Early. Left side of the infield held down by Steve Marino and Francisco Rosario. Right side held down by Craig Massey and Alex De Leon. Behind the plate, Riley Moore. Catching today's starting pitcher, Jarrett Miller. Miller enters this one with a record of 4-2 at 3.04, appearing in his 13th game, making his 13th start. He's thrown 74 innings of work, giving up 28 runs, 25 earned on 76 hits, 52 strikeouts, and 24 walks. for the righty. The lineup thrown out by manager Greg Langben looks like this. They'll lead off with their second baseman, Jamadrick Magruder. Batting second, designated hitter Ricky Rodriguez. Hitting third in center field, Chris Grayson. Batting fourth and right, Dave Popkins. Hitting fifth behind the plate, making his Wild Things debut, Zach Fish. Batting sixth at first base, Jimmy Yezzo. Batting seventh at third, Grant Fink. Hitting eighth in left field, Andrew Heck. And batting ninth at shortstop is Austin Wobrock. Your Wild Things starter for today is Chase Cunningham. Cunningham enters this one with a record of 3-5 and a 3.87 ERA. Jarrett Miller going through his warm-up toss. As we said, his last time out was against your Washington Wild Things. Gave up 4 runs in 6 2/3 innings of work. So we'll see if the Wild Things can get to him early here. Looking at Miller's numbers, he does give up quite a few hits, as he's given up 76 hits in 74 innings of work. So we'll see if the Wild Things can take advantage of that and take advantage when they have men on base. Jamadrick Magruder making his way to the plate to lead things off here in the top of the first. Magruder enters this one with an average of 320, 1 home run, and 4 RBIs. Just about ready for baseball here from Rent One Park in Marion, Illinois. You're listening to the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Miller's first pitch is on the ground to first. De Leon has it, flips on to Miller, and 1 pitch, 1 away here in the top of the first as Magruder's retired, and that'll bring to the plate designated hitter Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez on the year, currently hitting .301, 5 home runs, and 21 RBIs. So 1 pitch, 1 out for Jarrett Miller. Magruder swinging at the first pitch and grounding it to De Leon over there at first base. Rodriguez in as the designated hitter. His second game as the DH in the last 3 games. He played DH in Game 2 of the doubleheader against River City, and then was at third base last night, back in that DH spot tonight. Miller setting the pitch, and Rodriguez takes this one inside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Ricky Rodriguez. Wild Things swept last time by the Southern Illinois Miners, trying to reverse that today, though 1-0, and this one's hit to center field. Going back is Gates, and he'll make the catch, and that is out number 2. So it takes just 3 pitches to retire the first 2 Wild Things batters here in the top of the first, and that'll bring up the center fielder, Chris Grayson. Grayson on the years hitting .283, 1 home run, and 6 RBIs. 2 outs top of the first, just underway here from Rent One Park in Marion, Illinois. Game 1 of 3 between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Grayson coming to the plate, drove in a run in yesterday's ball game. It was his 6th RBI of the season. Miller has his sign. Here's the pitch, and Grayson takes this one in the outside corner for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Your umpires for tonight's ball game. Behind home plate, Chris Diekman, and on the bases, Andy Dodonis. The 0-1, and that one's in the dirt, blocked by Riley Moore behind the plate, and the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count. Tony DeMello still on the DL for the Southern Illinois Miners. So Riley Moore, the primary catcher. Alex De Leon has caught the last 2 games for Southern Illinois. He's the backup over at first base. Looking in is Jarrett Miller. Miller has his sign and the pitch on the way. And Grayson takes this one high for a ball, so the count goes to 2 balls and a strike. Grayson ahead of the count here against Jarrett Miller. And that's what you want to do if you're the Wild Things. Work ahead of the count, swing at your pitches, don't chase what Jarrett Miller's throwing. Here's the 2-1, and that one's outside for a ball. 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 to count to Chris Grayson. 2 men out here in the top of the first. The Wild Things have sent 4 batters to the plate in each of their last 3 games, but have not recorded their first hit until the 5th in the last 2. And now Grayson hits this one deep to center field. Gates going back to the track, and he'll make the catch for out number 3. So 1-2-3 go your Wild Things in the first. After half an inning of play, the score, your Washington Wild Things nothing, Southern Illinois Miners come to bat. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School, lead, don't follow.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the first, and the score, your Washington Wild Things nothing, Southern Illinois Miners coming to the plate. Your Wild Things aligned defensively like this, and the outfield left to right, Andrew Heck, Chris Grayson, and Dave Popkins. Left side of the infield held down by Grant Fink and Austin Wolbrock. Right side by Jamadrick Magruder and Jimmy Yezo, and behind the plate is catcher Zach Fish. Catching starting pitcher Chase Cunningham. Cunningham enters this one with a record of 3-5, a 3.78 ERA, appearing in his 11th game, making his 11th start. Has thrown 57 innings of work, giving up 25 runs, 24 earned on 52 hits, 14 walks, and 26 strikeouts on the season for the Wild Things right-hander. The lineup he'll face tonight for Southern Illinois looks like this. They'll lead off with their center fielder, Aaron Gates. Batting second, designated hitter Shane Kennedy. Hitting third at second base, Craig Massey. Batting fourth at first base, Alex De Leon. Hitting fifth in right field, Nolan Early. In the sixth spot, third baseman Steve Marino. Batting seventh in left field, Kurt Wirtz Jr. Batting eighth and catching, Riley Moore. And batting ninth at shortstop, Francisco Rosario. On the mound for the Miners, as you saw, is Jarrett Miller. Miller enters this one with a record of 4-2 and a 3.04 ERA. Chase Cunningham, last time out, was against the Southern Illinois Miners on Sunday. Had his worst start of the year. Went 4 innings, gave up 7 runs, all earned in that outing, so he'll look to get back on track here this evening. Aaron Gates making his way to the plate to lead things off in the bottom of the first, and we are ready for baseball here in this home half of the first. Score, your Wild Things nothing, and the Southern Illinois Miners coming to bat. Now, the first 2 games of that series with Southern Illinois were both rather close. Wild Things losing 4-2 in Game 1 and losing 4-3 in Game 2. And even Game 3, even though Southern Illinois at one point had an 11-0 lead, the Wild Things fought back and made it an 11-7 score, so still not that big of a blowout. The Wild Things played these Miners tough, but could not pick up a win at Consol Energy Park. We'll see what happens this time around at Rent One Park. Cunningham has his sign, the pitch to Gates. And Gates takes his first one at the knees for a strike. No balls and a strike. Gates enters today hitting .307, 6 home runs, and 33 RBIs. Bottom of the first, no score. Cunningham has his sign. Here's the 0-1. And that one's low for a ball, and the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. For Chase Cunningham, the key for him is work low in the zone. He's a ground ball pitcher, won't strike out many batters, as he only has 26 strikeouts and 57 innings of work. This next pitch lined on the right field line, and that's a base hit. Gates rounding first, heading to second. Popkins fields it. His throw into second is strong, but not in time, and it's a leadoff double for Aaron Gates, so a runner in scoring position. Nobody out here for Southern Illinois to start the game, and that's not what you wanted to see from Cunningham. That ball hit hard by Gates down the right field line, landed well in fair territory. Popkins having to go over and field it. He had a strong throw into second, unfortunately not in time to get Aaron Gates. So there's a runner at second, nobody out for Southern Illinois, and that brings up their designated hitter, Shane Kennedy. Kennedy on the season is currently hitting .317 with 2 home runs and 21 RBIs. Aaron Gates starts the game off for the Miners with a double down the right field line. He stands on second base. Cunningham looking into Fish. Cunningham has his sign. He's set. Checks Gates at second, and the pitch. And that one's a called strike on the outside corner. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Cunningham tried to shake that off and strand Gates right at second base. Grant Fink playing in on the grass over at his third base position. Everyone else at about normal depth. Cunningham has his sign, the 0-1, and that one swung on a miss. Count goes to no balls and 2 strikes on Shane Kennedy. Wild Things only saw Kennedy once in their 3-game series back at Consol Energy Park, as he sat out the first 2 games and was the designated hitter in Game 3 of that series. Cunningham looks in, has his sign, checks Gates at second, and the 0-2. And this ball fouled away back into the stands, so the count will remain no balls and 2 strikes. Cunningham, not a guy who's going to work around a lot of people, only 14 walks and 57 innings of work, so he attacks the strike zone, but there's a lot of contact made against him, and he usually keeps it low in the zone, so as an infielder, you got to be ready for ground balls all day long. Cunningham has his sign, he's set, checks Gates, and the 0-2. And that one's high for a ball. This count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kennedy doesn't offer at that pitch above the letters. 1 ball, 2 strikes, nobody out. Aaron Gates starting this inning off with a double. He stands at second base. Cunningham looks in, has his sign, checks Gates at second, and the 1-2. And this ball lined into center field. Grayson giving chase. He's not going to get to it. Gates is going to be waved to the plate. He's going to score without a throw. Grayson's throwing to second, and it's not in time. Shane Kennedy in there with an RBI double, and Southern Illinois takes a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first. Gates scores on the Kennedy RBI for Kennedy. That is RBI number 22 on the year. Southern Illinois taking the early 1-0 lead here over Chase Cunningham, and that'll send to the plate second baseman Craig Massey. Massey on the year currently hitting .327, 5 home runs, and 27 RBIs. So nobody out, runner at second, 1-0. Southern Illinois Miners leading over your Wild Things. Cunningham left those 2 pitches up, the double by Gates, now the double by Kennedy, and it's cost him. Here's the pitch, and Massey showing bunt. He'll take this one outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 count on the Southern Illinois Miners second baseman. Miners a 1-0 lead early on in this one here in the bottom of the first. Cunningham has his sign. He's set. Checks second in the 1-0. And that ball lined back towards the press box. It goes foul, and the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count here on Craig Massey. Rent One Park out here in Marion, Illinois. 320 down the line in left. The big notch out there in left center field, 419. 400 to straightaway center. 375 down the right center field. And down the right field line, 335. Cunningham has his sign. Checks second. Throw back. And getting in there is Shane Kennedy. Kennedy on the year currently has no stolen bases in 54 games. Has 10 stolen bases in 54 games out there at second base. Cunningham has his sign, checks Kennedy, and the 1-1. And this ball lined back to the screen, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count. Chase Cunningham still looking for the first out in this game, as the first 2 men hit back-to-back doubles to lead things off. 1 ball, 2 strikes, nobody out. If you're Cunningham, got to limit the damage here. In this first inning, and give your team a chance to stay in this ball game. You do not want things to snowball on you early. Cunningham looks in, has his sign, he's set, checks second, and the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. And that one's low for a ball. Count goes even at 2-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes here on Craig Massey. Massey had a very good series against the Wild Things last time they met, drove in 3 runs in that 11-7 victory in the last game of that series. Cunningham has his sign, he's set, checks Kennedy, and the 2-2. And this ball grounded to Magruder at second. He has it. He'll throw on to first, and that's in time for out number 1. 1 away here in the bottom of the first. 1-0 Southern Illinois lead. Shane Kennedy makes it over to third base now with 1 out, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Alex DeLeon. DeLeon on the year is currently hitting .294, 8 home runs, and 43 RBIs. 1 man out, runner at third. DeLeon actually behind the plate the last 2 games for Southern Illinois. He's the backup catcher to Riley Moore, as Tony DeMello on the disabled list for Southern Illinois, the primary catcher. Cunningham has his side, checks Kennedy at third. Wild Things infield in the pitch. And this one's fouled back to the screen. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on Alex DeLeon. 1 out here in the bottom of the first. It's Christmas in July night here at Rent One Park. Lots of Christmas festivities going on around the stadium. 1-0 Southern Illinois leads. Wild Things infield in on the grass. Outfield at normal depth. Cunningham shakes off the first sign and the second. Now has one he wants. Looks at third. And the 0-1. And that one's outside for a ball. Count goes even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Chase Cunningham, first time working with catcher Zach Fish. Fish making his Wild Things debut, was signed right before the River City series and was made available before last night's ball game, appearing in his first action here today. Cunningham has his sign. He's set in the 1-1. And this ball hit the center field. Chris Grayson a couple steps over. Kennedy going to tag at third. Grayson makes the catch. Kennedy tags. The throw in will be cut off, and Shane Kennedy will score. Sacrifice fly for Alex DeLeon, and Southern Illinois takes an early 2-0 lead over your Washington Wild Things. Bases empty now with 2 men out. And for DeLeon, as long as he got that one out of the infield, he was going to drive a run in, as the infield was in, outfield was at normal depth. And Chris Grayson, not really trying to throw him out at home plate, gets it into the cutoff man, and Kennedy scores easily. Nolan Early coming to the plate right now. Early so far in the year, hitting .275, 6 home runs, and 39 RBIs. 2-0 Southern Illinois leads here in the bottom of the first over your Washington Wild Things. Cunningham trying to get out of this inning now. He's set. Here's the pitch, and Early takes this one low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on the Southern Illinois right fielder. For Southern Illinois, managing at third base is Mike Pinto, and they rotate a player at first base. The 1-0, and this one hit up the middle, and that'll be a base hit. The third hit of this inning now, a single for Nolan Early, gives Southern Illinois a 2-out base runner, and that brings to the plate third baseman Steve Martino. Marino on the year, currently hitting .315, 11 home runs, and 49 RBIs. Marino, the captain of this Southern Illinois Miners team, having a breakout season, has the most home runs he's ever hit with 11, and high total of RBIs with 49. So Marino coming to the plate. Nolan Early stands on first base, and Marino at the plate. Marino's 11 home runs leads the team in that category. The next person is Alex De Leon with 8. Standing on first base is Nolan Early after the 2-out single. Chase Cunningham looking into Mike Fish. Cunningham has his sign. He's set, and the pitch on the way. And this one's taken for a strike on the outside corner. No balls and 1 strike. 0-1 the count here on Steve Marino. 2 outs, bottom of the first, 2 runs in. 1 on the sac fly by Alex De Leon and 1 on the RBI double by Shane Kennedy. Cunningham has his sign in the 0-1. And that one's outside and low for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count on Steve Marino, the first ever captain in Southern Illinois Miners history. Batting from the right-handed side against right-handed pitcher Chase Cunningham. Cunningham looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 1 ball, 1 strike pitch. And that one's outside for a ball, 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count. Chase Cunningham laboring here in this first inning. Has had to throw a lot of pitches and has given up 2 runs early on. Cunningham checks first, has his sign, he's set, and the 2-1. And that one's a called strike on the outside corner, evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count. Cunningham has made some mistake pitches early, and they've been hit hard. Aaron Gates, Shane Kennedy, and Nolan Early all hard hit base hits. Doubles for Kennedy and Gates, single for Nolan Early. Cunningham has his sign, the 2-2, and this one grounded towards second. Magruder, a sliding stop to his feet. He makes the throw, and an impressive play by Jamadric Magruder will end the inning. 2 runs come in the inning for the Miners on 3 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. After 1 inning of play, the score, Southern Illinois 2, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get a sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the second, and the score. Your Washington Wild Things nothing, Southern Illinois Miners 2. Last inning for the Wild Things, they went 1-2-3. Jamadric Magruder grounded out on the first pitch of the game. Ricky Rodriguez would fly out, and Chris Grayson would fly out to end the inning. Due up in this inning for your Washington Wild Things, 4-5-6. Dave Popkins, Zach Fish, and Jimmy Yezzo facing off against Jarrett Miller. Miller an efficient first inning, only 8 pitches to get through inning number 1 of work for the Southern Illinois Miners. Next Wild Things home game, Tuesday, July 26th against the Normal Corn Belters. $2 Tuesday, 7:05 first pitch. Come out to see game 1 of the 3-game series between your Washington Wild Things and the Normal Corn Belters. For tickets, go to www.washingtonwildthings.com or call the box office at 866-456-WILD. Dave Popkins making his way to the plate to lead things off here in the top of the second. Popkins on the year hitting .297, 8 home runs, and 27 RBIs. Wild Things going 1-2-3 in the first, trying to get a man on here in the second. Now down by 2 as Southern Illinois leads this one 2-0. Jarrett Miller looking in, has his sign in the pitch, and Popkins takes this first one outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on the Wild Things cleanup hitter. Last 2 games for the Wild Things, they have not gotten their first hit in the game until the 5th inning or later. The pitch, and that one's outside as well, so Popkins getting ahead in the count here. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count. Popkins, one of the more patient hitters on this Wild Things team, leads the team in both walks and strikeouts, gets deep in the counts and looks for pitches he can drive. The 2-0, and that one's on the outside corner for a strike. Count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. 2-1 the count on Dave Popkins. Nobody out top of the second. Jarrett Miller looks in, has his sign, and the 2-1, and that one's outside for a ball. The count goes to 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count on Dave Popkins, trying to be the first base runner for the Washington Wild Things. In those last 2 games, the Wild Things have had a base runner in one of the first 2 innings as somebody has walked, and Popkins lines this one right at the shortstop Rosario, and that is good for out number 1. Rosario only having to move a couple of steps to his left to make that play. That'll bring to the plate the Wild Things catcher, Zach Fish. Fish, in his Wild Things debut, was picked up by the Wild Things from the Winston-Salem Dash, where this season he was hitting .197, 2 home runs, and 12 RBIs. In his minor league career, 3 seasons, he hit .234, 18 home runs, and 74 RBIs. Miller setting the pitch, and Fish fouls this one away back behind the stands. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Zach Fish has some power. Watched him take batting practice before last night's ball game, and he was putting on a show, putting balls over the Consol Energy Park left field wall. Miller setting the 0-1, and Fish takes this one low for a ball. Count goes even to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count. 1 man out here from Rent One Park in Marion, Illinois. Southern Illinois leads 2-0 over your Wild Things. The 1-1, and that one's low for a ball. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count. Jarrett Miller falling behind the first 2 hitters here in this second inning. Got Popkins to line out to start things. See if Zach Fish can fight his way aboard. Miller has his sign, the 2-1, and Fish a ground ball towards second base. Handled by Massey. He'll throw on to first, and that's in time for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for the Wild Things, and that brings up the first baseman, Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo on the season is currently hitting .219, 8 home runs, and 26 RBIs. 2 outs here in the top of the second. Southern Illinois leads 2-0 over your Washington Wild Things. Yezzo at the plate getting the start at first base this evening. Logan Uxa getting the night off. Jarrett Miller looking in. Has his sign and the pitch. And Yezzo takes this one outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on the Wild Things first baseman. Uxa's been getting the majority of the time out there at first. Yezzo's seen a lot of time at DH. But tonight, Yezzo getting a turn out in the field. Here's the 1-0. And Yezzo fouls this one off down the left field line back into the stands. Count goes even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fireworks Friday here in Southern Illinois. So a decent crowd, about 3/4 of the way full. About 3,000 was the expected attendance before tonight's game. Miller set, here's the 1-1, and that one's outside for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count on Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo's 8 home runs have him tied for the team lead with right fielder Dave Popkins. Miller looking in, and here's the 2-1. And Yezzo hits this one to left field. Going back on it is Wirtz Jr., a couple steps in front of the track, and he will make the catch for out number 3. 1-2-3 go your Wild Things here in the second, and after 1.5 the score, Southern Illinois 2, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
When looking to replace your athletic field, choose ProGrass, first in turf. ProGrass has installed over 500 fields in the U.S. Getting the best artificial turf for your field depends upon both the product and the partner you choose. That's why architects, athletic directors, and players choose the ProGrass Performance System. ProGrass maintains an active presence in the field turf industry as members of the Sports Turf Management Association and the American Sports Builder Association, and is proud to be recognized as a FIFA preferred manufacturer. Call ProGrass today at 866-270-6003 or visit them on the web at www.progressturf.com. ProGrass, first in turf.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the second, and the score, Southern Illinois 2 and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Last inning, Aaron Gates doubled to start things off, then Shane Kennedy, a RBI double of his own. Aaron Gates would score, and Southern Illinois took a 1-0 lead. Then Craig Massey grounded out for the first out of the inning. Moving up to third on the play was Shane Kennedy before Alex DeLeon came through with a sacrifice fly, scoring Kennedy and giving the Miners a 2-0 lead. Then Nolan Early, a 2-out single, gave a put a base runner on for Southern Illinois, and then Steve Marino grounded out to end the inning. Due up here in the second, Kurt Wirtz Jr., Riley Moore, and Francisco Rosario, 7, 8, and 9, facing off against starting pitcher Chase Cunningham. Cunningham having to do a lot of work in that first inning through 22 pitches against these Southern Illinois Miners. On August 5th and 6th, if you're looking for something to do in the Washington area, head down to Waynesburg University August 5th and 6th at 7:30 p.m. They'll be putting on a production of the play The Curious Savage. It is a story about a wealthy widow who wants to use her wealth to do good while her grown stepchildren want it for themselves and have her committed to a sanitarium. At the sanitarium, Miss Savage meets several residents who are dealing with their own emotional scars, and through her interactions, Miss Savage gives the residents new hope, and they give her a new appreciation for the human spirit. Waynesburg University puts on the production August 5th and 6th at 7:30 p.m. Kurt Wirtz Jr. at the plate, and he fouls this first pitch off, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Kurt Wirtz Jr. Jr. hitting .333, a homer, and 3 RBIs through 2 games, with the Southern Illinois Miners. Cunningham has his sign. Here's the 0-1, and Wirtz Jr. pops this one up. Foul territory off to the left. That'll go back into the seats as well, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count here on Kurt Wirtz Jr. Nobody out, bottom of the second. Cunningham looking for a more efficient inning. Had to throw 22 pitches in that first inning and giving up 2 runs. Cunningham shakes off the first sign, now has one. Here's the 0-2. And that one's just outside for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on Kurt Wirtz Jr. As we said, his 3rd game for the Southern Illinois Miners. Cunningham has the sign of the pitch, and that one's inside for a ball, so the count goes even at 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes here to Kurt Wirtz Jr. Cunningham looks in, and the pitch. And this one lined down the left field line. It's hooking and will land just foul. So the count will remain 2-2. That would have been extra bases for Wirtz Jr. if that would have been a fair ball. But luckily for the Wild Things, count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count. Kurt Wirtz Jr. acquired from the Evansville Otters, was an outfielder for the Otters, released by the Otters and then picked up by Southern Illinois, playing in his 3rd game with the Miners. Cunningham has his sign. Here's the 2-2. And Wirtz Jr., a slow grounder to the right side. Jimmy Yezzo will handle it, and it'll go foul. As Yezzo charged that ball, it bounced into foul territory at the last second. The Wirtz Jr. will have to do it again. 7th pitch of the at-bat coming up here between Wirtz Jr. and Chase Cunningham. For Cunningham, that pitch count getting up early. He's already had to throw 29 pitches through 1+ inning of work against these Southern Illinois Miners, and he's got to get more efficient if he wants to stay later in this ball game. Cunningham looks in. He's set. Here's the 2-2. And this one lined into right field, and that'll be a base hit. The 4th hit of the day off Chase Cunningham. 2nd time the leadoff man has reached in as many innings, and that'll bring up the catcher, Riley Moore. Moore on the season is currently hitting .320, 3 home runs, and 8 RBIs. That .320 average good for 2nd on the team behind Craig Massey. So a runner at first, nobody out here in the bottom of the second. Miners lead 2-0 already in this one, and another base runner on for Southern Illinois. Cunningham looks in, has his sign, he's set, checks first, and the pitch. And this one's on the outside corner for a strike, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Riley Moore. Moore the main catcher now since Tony DeMello's on the DL for the Southern Illinois Miners. Cunningham looks into Zach Fish behind the plate. Shakes off the first sign, shakes off another one. Now has one he wants. He's set. Checks Kurt Wirtz Jr. at first. Throw over there, and Wirtz Jr. gets back in there. So far in his Miners career, Wirtz Jr. has not stolen a base to this point. For Evansville earlier in this season, Kurt Wirtz Jr. had 1 stolen base in 30 games played. Cunningham set in the pitch, and this one lined foul into the seats. Count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count. Cunningham, as we said, not a big strikeout pitcher, likes to have the ball put on the ground and in play. As coming into tonight's ball game, Cunningham only has 26 strikeouts and 57 innings of work. So he'll see if he can get one here on an 0-2 count. Cunningham looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 0-2 pitch. And that one's in the dirt for a ball. Couldn't get Riley Moore to chase on that slider, biting down and in. And the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count here on Riley Moore. Nobody out, bottom of the second. Runner at first for Southern Illinois is Kurt Wirtz Jr. As Riley Moore stepping back in and fixing up his batting gloves. Moore behind the plate is the main catcher. Cunningham has his sign, the 1-2. And this one on the ground to Yezo. He has it to second for 1. The return throw to first is in time to get him. Chase Cunningham covering the bag. Double play, 3-6-1. And that erases the bases. There are now 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. And it brings to the plate the shortstop, Francisco Rosario, the number 9 hitter for the Southern Illinois Miners. Rosario on the year is currently hitting .236, no home runs, and 11 RBIs. Just what Chase Cunningham needed. Good job by Cunningham of hustling over there to first base and covering to get that return throw and complete the double play. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second with Francisco Rosario at the plate. Now Cunningham in a much better situation. Bottom of the second, nobody on, and 2 men out with Southern Illinois leading 2-0. Cunningham has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Rosario takes this one on the inside corner for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on the number 9 hitter in the Southern Illinois order. 2 outs, bottom of the second. Cunningham's 0-1. And that one's low for a ball. Count goes even at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1, 2 men out, bottom of the second. Cunningham getting the big double play ball. Grant Fink moves in on the grass at third base. Rosario does have some speed, so guarding against the bunt. Cunningham set the 1-1, and that one's low for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and 1 strike. 2-1 the count on Francisco Rosario. Played all 3 games at shortstop against the Wild Things in the first series between these 2 teams. Cunningham looks in, and the 2-ball, 1 strike pitch. And Rosario checks his swing and takes this one just outside for a ball, so the count goes to 3 balls and 1 strike. 4 hits given up by Cunningham on the day. So far, no walks, which is a good thing. He has only walked 14 men in 57 innings, and that pitch is outside, ball 4. So spoke too soon. There's his first walk of the game, and it's a 2-out base runner for Southern Illinois, and that'll bring up the center fielder, Aaron Gates. Gates so far in this one, 1 for 1 with a double to lead off the game. 2 outs, runner at first for Southern Illinois, with Gates at the plate. Yesterday's game suspended between the Southern Illinois Miners and the Joliet Slammers due to rain. It was 7-7 at the time of the suspension. Cunningham looks in, has his sign, checks first in the pitch, and this one line foul down the left field line, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Aaron Gates. Gates out in center field, as he has been for all 3 games that the Wild Things played them at Consol Energy Park. 2 outs, runner at first for Southern Illinois. Here in the bottom of the second, Cunningham has his sign. He's set, and the 0-1 pitch. And that one's a called strike on the outside corner. No balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count here on Aaron Gates. Gates out in center field. Runner on first, Francisco Rosario. Rosario walked with 2 men out after Cunningham got a key double play. Cunningham has his sign. Rosario takes off for second. It's outside, and Zach Fish drops the ball. Fish was going to fire to second, and the ball just slipped back out of his hand. Stolen base for Francisco Rosario. And for Rosario, that is stolen base number 7 on the year. Runner at second now with 2 men out for the Southern Illinois Miners. Miners lead this one 2-0. Chase Cunningham looks in to Zach Fish with Aaron Gates at the plate. Cunningham has his sign, checks Rosario at second, the pitch. And this one grounded towards the middle. Wobrock will field it, throw to first, and it's in time for out number 3. So no runs in the inning on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. After 2 innings of play, the score, Southern Illinois 2, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball going into the top of the third, and the score, Southern Illinois 2 and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Last inning for the Wild Things, they went 1-2-3. Dave Popkins lined out to start things, then Zach Fish grounded out, and Jimmy Yezzo flew out to end the inning. Due up here in the third, 7, 8, and 9, Grant Fink, Andrew Heck, and Austin Wobrock facing off against Jarrett Miller. Now, last time out for Jarrett Miller, as we said, a decent start. It was against your Washington Wild Things. Miller went 6 2/3 in that one, gave up 4 runs, 3 of those earned on 9 hits, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts in a win that improved his record to 4-2. Nothing great, as he did hit a logjam in the 5th inning, and that forced him out of the game in the 7th as he gave up those 4 runs. So see if the Wild Things can get to him here. Wild Things still hitless in this one, looking to get their first hit here in the third. As we said, they've had 2 consecutive games where they have not gotten their first hit of the game until the 5th inning or later. So they're trying to do that here in tonight's game at Rent One Park. Jarrett Miller finally finishing up his warm-up tosses, and coming to the plate will be third baseman Grant Fink. Fink on the year hitting .198 with 5 home runs and 13 RBIs. Top of the third, 2-0 Southern Illinois Miners lead over your Washington Wild Things, as Fink making his way to the plate here with nobody out in the top of the third. Fink hit a solo home run in Game 1 of the doubleheader against River City earlier this week. It was his 5th home run of the season. Miller set, here's the pitch, and Fink fouls this one off back behind the seats behind home plate, and the count goes to no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on Grant Fink. His 4th straight start for the Wild Things. Started in left field in 2 out of the last 3 games. Started at first base 2 games, or third base 2 games ago. This pitch is up high for a ball, and the count goes even at 1-1. So he's been splitting time between the left field position and third base. Miller has his sign. He's set. Here's the 1-1. And Fink grounds this one to the left side. Rosario backhands, jumps, throws to first, and just in time to get Grant Fink. A great play over there by Francisco Rosario, as he had to throw across his body and then threw a strike over to first base to get Grant Fink for out number 1 here in the top of the third. That'll bring to the plate left fielder Andrew Heck. Heck on the year currently hitting .250, no home runs, and 9 RBIs. Fink and Heck have been playing interchangeably out in left field over the past couple weeks. Someone trying to nail down that position. Jarrett Miller looking in, has his sign. Here comes the pitch to Heck. And Heck takes this one for a strike at the knees. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count of the Wild Things left fielder. Andrew Heck started Game 2 of the doubleheader against River City out there in left field. Miller's 0-1. And Heck and this one bounced up to the plate. Heck takes it in the dirt for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1 the count here on Andrew Heck. 1 out, top of the third. 2-0 as Southern Illinois Miners lead your Wild Things. Miller set. Here's the 1-1. Heck fouls this one back to the screen, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count here on Andrew Heck. Heck, a Pittsburgh native, so a local guy to the Washington, Pennsylvania area. In his 4th season with the Washington Wild Things. Miller has his sign. He's set, and the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. And Heck grounds this one foul off to the right. To the left, the count will remain 1 ball and 2 strikes. Andrew Heck was a bench player at the beginning of this year, then got some regular playing time after the retirement of Jamal Austin, played regularly out in center field. Also got some time in left after Nick Ferdinand retired, but now playing again interchangeably with Grant Fink. Miller has his sign, the 1-2, and Heck lines this one right to shortstop, handled by Rosario on the bounce, throw to first, and that's in time for out number 2. A rocket by Andrew Heck, but unfortunately right at Rosario, and it's 2 up, 2 down for the Wild Things here in the third. That'll bring up the shortstop, Austin Wobrock. Wobrock on the year hitting .211, 1 home run, and 13 RBIs. Wobrock picked up the Wild Things' first hit in yesterday's game, came in the bottom of the 6th, and the Wild Things would eventually go on to score 2 runs in that inning on their way to winning 3-0. Jarrett Miller looks in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Wobrock takes this one high for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Want to know the count on Austin Woldbrock has raised his average up to 211 over these last couple weeks. Was hitting down in the 190s, recently getting that average up. The 1-0, and that one's outside as well. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count here on Austin Woldbrock. Jarrett Miller, 8 straight Wild Things retired to start the game. Woldbrock trying to break that streak. The 2-0, and Woldbrock fouls this one back to the screen. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count here on Austin Woldbrock. Out there at shortstop for the Wild Things. Has played all but 3 games at shortstop this year for the Wild Things. Jarrett Miller looks in, has his sign. Here's the 2-1. And Woldbrock lines this one down the line in left. It's hooking, and it'll go into the lawn area foul. And the count goes even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2, 2 outs here from Rent One Park in Marion, Illinois. Top of the third. Southern Illinois leading 2-0 over your Washington Wild Things. This Southern Illinois Miners team, a very talented pitching staff. Jarrett Miller has his sign. He's set. Here's the 2-2. And that one goes down and in, and it's called a ball, so the count goes full 3-2. Jarrett Miller thought he had him on strike 3 as he made his walk towards the Miners' dugout, then had to go back to the mound with the count full at 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Jamadrick Magruder, the on-deck man, if Woldbrock should reach. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and Woldbrock takes this one low and inside for ball 4. First base runner of the day for your Washington Wild Things as Woldbrock reaches, and with 2 outs, there's a runner at first, and Jamadrick Magruder coming to the plate. Magruder so far on the day 0 for 1, grounded out in his first at-bat, and in yesterday's game against River City, Magruder ended up going 1 for 3. RBI single, also in the fielder's choice, walked and grounded out on the day. 2 outs, top of the third. Runner at first for the Wild Things as Austin Woldbrock walks. First man to reach base for the Wild Things on the day. Miller coming from the stretch for the first time tonight. Miller has his sign. Throw over to first, and Woldbrock's back in there. Woldbrock currently tied for the team lead in stolen bases. He and Chris Grayson each have 5 on the year. Jamal Austin was the team leader with 13, but Austin retired 3 weeks ago. Miller has his sign, the pitch, and Magruder grounds this one to second. Massey will handle it, throw on to first, and that's in time for out number 3. No runs in the inning, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base after the walk. After 2.5, the score, Southern Illinois 2, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute, that keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise, we ensure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the third, and the score, Southern Illinois 2, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Chase Cunningham back out there for his 3rd inning of work. Last inning for the Miners, Kurt Wirtz Jr. started things off with a single, and then a big 3-6-1 double play, cleared the bases, and there were 2 outs and nobody on. Francisco Rosario would walk, moved up to second on a stolen base, and Aaron Gates would ground out to end the inning. Due up here in the bottom of the third, Shane Kennedy, Craig Massey, and Alex De Leon, 2, 3, and 4, facing off against Chase Cunningham. Now, Cunningham's last start out was his worst start of the season, was against these Southern Illinois Miners back on Sunday. Went 4 innings in that one, gave up 7 runs, all earned, on 7 hits, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts in a loss that dropped his record to 3-5 on the season. So Cunningham, so far just 2 runs given up through 2 innings of work. See if he can keep it at just 2 and keep his team in this ball game, and hopefully give his guys a chance to get back in this one and get them the win. Wild Things currently down 2-0, still searching for their first hit in this ball game. As we said, the last 2 games, they've not picked up their first hit until the 5th inning or later. So looking to break that streak and get a hit here in the top of the 4th. First have to get through the bottom of the 3rd, and making his way to the plate to lead things off in that bottom of the 3rd is designated hitter Shane Kennedy. Kennedy so far an RBI double in his first at-bat, drove in the first run for these Southern Illinois Miners. Bottom of the 3rd, 2-0, Southern Illinois leads over your Washington Wild Things. Chase Cunningham looking into Zach Fish. Cunningham has his sign. He's set. Here's the pitch. And that one's in there at the letters for a strike. No balls and a strike. Cunningham getting ahead of Shane Kennedy to start this inning. Cunningham set. Here's the 0-1. And that one's in the dirt. Skits by Zach Fish behind the plate, and the count goes even at 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1 the count. Chase Cunningham making his 11th start of the season for your Washington Wild. Things was pretty consistent in the beginning half of the year. These last 2 starts, a little bump in the road for him, as the 1-1 is outside for a ball, and the count's 2 balls and a strike. He's 0-2 in his last 2 starts. Gave up 4 runs 2 starts ago and 7 runs his last time out. He said here's the 2-1. And that one's outside for a ball, so the count goes to 3 balls and a strike. After getting ahead of Shane Kennedy, he's thrown 3 straight balls and now finds himself behind in the count, 3-1. Cunningham has his sign, the 3-1, and that one's low ball 4. So the leadoff man will reach base here in the bottom of the third via the leadoff walk. Second walk of the day for Chase Cunningham, and that'll bring to the plate second baseman Craig Massey. Massey so far 0 for 1 on the day. Came into today hitting .327, and that .327 average currently good for first on this Southern Illinois Miners team. Nobody out, bottom of the third. 2-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Cunningham looks in, checks first, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch. And Massey takes this one in the dirt low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count. 2 walks today for Chase Cunningham. Not very characteristic of him, as we said, only 14 walks and 57 innings of work this season. 2 walks out here today. Normally a guy who's very consistent in hitting the strike zone. But these last 2 starts especially have been bumps in the road, as we said. He walked 3 men last time he faced Southern Illinois. Throw over to first, and Shane Kennedy back in there ahead of the tag of Jimmy Yezzo. Shane Kennedy on the year currently has 10 stolen bases in 36 games played. Another throw over there, and once again, he is back in. Cunningham paying close attention to Kennedy over there. Doesn't want him to get into scoring position with nobody out here in the bottom of the third. Cunningham checks again, has his sign, he's set, and the 1-0. Kennedy taking off for second. Here's Fish's throw down, and it is not in time. Kennedy gets in there, his 11th stolen base of the year, and there's a runner at second now with nobody out here in the bottom of the third, and a 2-0 count on Craig Massey as that pitch was outside. Fish bounced that ball up to second base as he tried to get Kennedy. Would have beat him if it was a line drive, but unfortunately low in the dirt. Wobrock couldn't handle it, and Kennedy slid in ahead of the throw. Cunningham looks in, has his sign, he's set. Checks Kennedy at second, and the pitch. And that one's inside for a ball. Count goes to 3 balls and no strikes, so Cunningham having trouble with control here in this inning. 0-1 count before throwing 4 straight balls to Shane Kennedy. Now 3 straight balls to Craig Massey. The 3-0, and that one's a called strike on the inside corner. Count goes to 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count on Craig Massey out there at second base for Southern Illinois. Played second base in all 3 games against the Wild Things the first series these 2 teams met. Cunningham looking into Fish. Has his sign. He's set. Checks Kennedy at second, and the 3-1. And that one's a called strike on the outside corner. Count goes full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count here on Craig Massey. Alex DeLeon, the on-deck batter, if Massey should reach base. These Southern Illinois Miners have been on a roll lately. They have not lost since the All-Star break. Cunningham has his sign. He's set. Checks second, and the 3-2. And that one swung on and foul tipped. Mike Fish not able to hold on to it behind the plate. So the count will remain 3-2. Might have got him on the thumb of that glove. As he's not able to grab it. He's shaking that glove hand, but he looks to be okay. And he'll get back into his crouch. 3 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. 2-0 Southern Illinois leads here in the bottom of the third. They have a runner at second and nobody out. Cunningham looks in, has his sign. He's set, and the 3-ball, 2-strike pitch. And that one's lined foul off to the left, so the count will remain 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody out, bottom of the third. Cunningham, the 8th pitch of the at-bat coming here in this one. The bullpens here in Rent One Park, situated beyond the outfield wall. Not like most stadiums you see here in the Frontier League where the bullpens are in foul territory. Here they're beyond the right field wall. Cunningham checks the pitch, and this one line foul hits off the first base coach. One of the players for the Southern Illinois Miners taking that one in the ribs off the bat of Craig Massey. That'll keep you honest at first base. 3 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. Shane Kennedy stands on second. He walked and stole a base to lead off this inning against Chase Cunningham. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Cunningham looks in. Has his sign, he's set. And the 3-2. And that one fouled back to the screen. So the 10th pitch of the at-bat coming up here between Chase Cunningham and Craig Massey. Cunningham has just had his struggles against Southern Illinois. His last start coming against Southern Illinois, now tonight against the Miners. He's given up 2 runs so far, but he's thrown a lot of pitches and has walked 2, given up 4 hits, has not struck out a batter to this point. Cunningham has his sign, he's set. Checks Kennedy at second, the 3-2. And this ball lined back and hits off the roof here above the press box. So the count will remain 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count. Cunningham just can't put Massey away. Massey staying alive here. 4 straight foul balls has kept him in this at-bat. Cunningham looks in, has his sign, he's set. And the 3-ball, 2-strike pitch. And that one's inside, ball 4. So after battling for 11 pitches, Craig Massey takes the walk, and there are now runners at first and second with nobody out here in the bottom of the third, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Alex DeLeon. Manager Greg Langbang coming out of the Wild Things dugout to have a chat with his starting pitcher, Chase Cunningham. Now, as we said, we're looking at the standings prior to today's game. Wild Things entered a half game behind the Joliet Slammers for first place here in the Frontier League East. Joliet stands at 30-26. Your Washington Wild Things sit at 29-26. Then the Lake Erie Crushers come into this one in third place. Their record stands at 27-28. Then Windy City, a record of 27-30. Schaumburg in fourth, their record of 26-32. And then Traverse City rounds out the Frontier League East with a record of 24-33. The Southern Illinois Miners lead the Frontier League West, their record of 39-17. Evansville, the second place team, 7 games back of the Miners. They sit at 32-24. Then Gateway 29-30. River City 26-29. Normal Corn Belters 26-31. And the Florence Freedom 24-33. Meeting on the mound is over. Alex DeLeon stepping in. Runners at first and second here with nobody out in the bottom of the third, and Southern Illinois leading 2-0. Cunningham looking in, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch. And DeLeon towards center field. Chris Grayson coming on a couple steps, and he'll make the catch for out number 1. So DeLeon retired on 1 pitch. That's the first out here in the bottom of the third, and that'll bring up the right fielder, Nolan Early. Early so far in this one, singled in inning number 1. 1 man out here in the bottom of the third. 2-0 Southern Illinois leads over your Washington Wild Things. Runners are at first and second with 1 man out and Early at the plate. Cunningham could love another double play ball. Got one with nobody out and a runner at first in the second inning. Retired the leadoff man who was on base, and Riley Moore. Would love to get another one here to end the inning. Cunningham has his sign. He's set, checks second, and the pitch. And this one grounded to first. Yezzo, a diving stop. He's not going to have another play. He'll take it to the bag himself. And that is out number 2. What a play by Jimmy Yezzo, robbing extra bases and holding those runners at second and third with 2 outs. That'll bring to the plate the third baseman, Steve Marino. Marino so far 0 for 1. A diving stop by Jimmy Yezzo, robbing Early down the line and taking 2 RBIs off the board. 2-0 Miners here in the bottom of the third. 2 outs, runners at second and third, and Marino at the plate. Cunningham looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch on the way to Marino. And Marino pops this one up on the infield. Yezzo going over in foul territory, and he'll make the catch for out number 3. No runs in the inning, no hits, no errors, and 2 left on after the 2 walks. After 3 innings of play, the score, Southern Illinois 2, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfield playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the fourth, and the score, Southern Illinois 2 and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Wild Things got their first base runner in the game in last inning as Grant Fink grounded out to start things, and Andrew Heck would ground out. Austin Wolbrock worked a 3-2 walk before Jamadrick Magruder grounded out to end the inning. Due up here in the fourth, Ricky Rodriguez, Chris Grayson, and Dave Popkins, 2, 3, and 4, seeing if the second time through the lineup is the charm for the Wild Things against Jarrett Miller. Miller not allowing a hit to this point. He's only allowed one base runner that walked to Austin Wolbrock. With the middle of the Wild Things order coming up, we'll see if they can get something going against Jarrett Miller. Game 2 of this 3-game series can be heard tomorrow night right here on the MSA Sports Network. 7:05 first pitch Eastern Time. It'll be Sam Agnew-Whelan taking the mound for your Washington Wild Things. He'll be opposed by Brooks Trujillo tomorrow night. 7:05 first pitch right here on the MSA Sports Network. Jarrett Miller going through his warm-up tosses here at Rent One Park. The right-hander's been very good through these first 3 innings. Wild Things will try to get to him here in the 4th inning. He's finished up with his warm-up tosses. Ricky Rodriguez making his way to the plate. Rodriguez so far 0 for 1. He grounded out in the first inning, and in that game last night against River City, he would go 1 for 4 with a strikeout, 2 groundouts, and a single on the day. Rodriguez stepping in. Nobody out, top of the 4th, 2-0. Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Wild Things still looking for their first hit in this ball game. Jarrett Miller looks in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Rodriguez takes this one outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count of the Wild Things third baseman. Rodriguez, one of 4 representatives for your Wild Things at the 2016 All-Star Game. Miller set. Here's the pitch. And that one's high and outside. Ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes here on Rodriguez. Rodriguez came to the Wild Things from the Amarillo Thunderheads, his first season with the Washington Wild Things. The 2-0, and Rodriguez takes this one low, so Jarrett Miller starts this inning off with 3 straight balls. 3-0 the count here on Ricky Rodriguez. Miller has his sign, the 3-0, and Rodriguez takes this one for a strike at the letters. Count goes to 3 balls and a strike. Jarrett Miller, a very fast worker on the mound as he gets the ball and then throws the pitch he wants. He's set. Here's the 3-1, and Rodriguez fouls this one down the line and right. It'll go back into the stands, and the count goes full to 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count. Chris Grayson, the on-deck man for the Washington Wild Things. Nobody out, top of the 4th. 2-0 Southern Illinois leading here in Marion, Illinois at Rent One Park. Miller has his sign. He's set. Here's the 3-2, and Rodriguez fouls this one off of catcher Riley Moore, and I think that got him in the knee. Moore, it looks to be in obvious pain, limping around behind home plate. Manager Mike Pinto and the Southern Illinois training staff coming out to check Riley Moore. That might have got up under his knee pad and hit that knee. Moore in obvious pain right now, being checked out by the trainers. If Moore would have to leave, Alex DeLeon, the backup catcher, is out at first base. He would come into the game and catch. DeLeon has caught the last 2 games for the Southern Illinois Miners. Nobody out, top of the 4th. A foul ball here by Rodriguez off the leg of Riley Moore. Moore now being tended to by the Southern Illinois Miners training staff. Mike Pinto out there as well as they are taking a look at Riley Moore. And Moore looks to trying to convince Mike Pinto that he can stay in this ball game, walking around for the trainers behind the home plate area as he's still talking to him. They're looking at that right knee. He's trying to get down into a crouch now. He took a foul ball off that right knee. And manager Mike Pinto out there, he's in his 10th season as the manager of the Southern Illinois Miners, has been the manager ever since the Miners were in existence. And now Pinto and the training staff walking off the field. Riley Moore going to stay in this ball game. There's Alex DeLeon over there at first base, giving him a nice big clap, thanking him for not having to go put on the catcher's gear. 3-2 the count here on Ricky Rodriguez, as Riley Moore will stay in this game to catch. Jarrett Miller retakes the mound. 6 pitches here in this at-bat to Rodriguez so far. 7th coming up. Jarrett Miller has his sign. Here's the 3-2. And Rodriguez takes this one high, ball 4. So leadoff walk. Has a man on base here for the Wild Things. Second base run of the day, as they still have not gotten a hit today, and that'll bring up the center fielder, Chris Grayson. Grayson so far on the day 0 for 1 with a flyout. Second walk on the day for Jarrett Miller. Walked Austin Wolbrock last inning with 2 outs and a guy on. Now Grayson coming to the plate, nobody out, and a runner on, looking for the first hit of the day. Chris Grayson standing in, currently fourth on this Wild Things team. Grayson with his .283 average entering today. Miller has his sign, checks Rodriguez, and the pitch. And Grayson takes this one low and inside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Chris Grayson out there in center field. The primary center fielder for your Wild Things ever since the retirement of Jamal Austin. Andrew Heck played 2 games out there while Grayson was signed, and Grayson has been out there ever since. Miller has his sign, checks first in the 1-0. And Grayson up the middle, and that is a base hit. First hit for the Wild Things today, and now they have runners at first and second with nobody out. Breaks the string of 2 straight games where they hadn't got their hit until after the 5th inning. Grayson gets the first hit of the game for the Wild Things tonight, and that'll bring up the right fielder, Dave Popkins. Popkins so far 0 for 1. Nobody out, top of the first. Runners at first and second for your Wild Things, so they try to break through here in the 4th inning against Jarrett Miller. It's been 2-0 Southern Illinois for this entire game. Southern Illinois getting the 2 runs in the bottom of the first. Cunningham running into some problems last inning, but able to limit the damage and keep the score at 2-0. Wild Things try to get him some runs here in the 4th. Jarrett Miller looks in, shakes off the first sign, now has one he likes. He's set, checks second, and the pitch coming to Popkins. And he'll take this one on the inside corner for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Dave Popkins. Leads the team in RBIs with 27. Tied for the team lead in home runs with 8. Jarrett Miller looks in. Has his sign. He's set. Checks second. And the 0-1 to Popkins. And this one swung on and missed. Count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on the Wild Things right fielder. Another one of the 4 representatives on this Wild Things All-Star team. In the 2016 All-Star Game, Zach Groats and Trevor Foss, the other 2 representatives, following Rodriguez and Popkins. Miller looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 0-2 pitch. And Popkins takes this one in the dirt for a ball, blocked back there by Riley Moore, so the count goes to 1-2, and both runners have to stay where they are. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rodriguez at second base has 1 stolen base on the year. Chris Grayson over there at first is tied for the team lead with 5. Jarrett Miller looks in. Has his sign. He's set. And the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch to Popkins. And he'll foul this one off at the plate. The count remains 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Popkins hitting that one right off the home plate. Jarrett Miller tried to fake like it was a fair ball, but the home plate umpire not buying it. 1 ball, 2 strikes, nobody out, top of the 4th, 2-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. However, Wild Things threatening here in the top of the 4th. Miller looks into Riley Moore, has his sign, he's set. Checks second, and the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. And this one grounded towards the middle, off the glove of Jarrett Miller, handled by Massey, tags Grayson for 1 on to first, and it's in time for the double play. What a play by Craig Massey. Double play, 4-3. Chris Grayson tagged out on his way to second base. Great adjustment there by Craig Massey as the ball deflected off of the glove of Jarrett Miller. Massey had the whereabouts to tag Grayson running by, and then threw an off-balance strike to first to retire Popkins for the second out of the inning. Now 2 outs and a runner at third, and Zach Fish at the plate. Fish so far 0 for 1 in his Wild Things debut. The backup catcher to Kyle Pollock. Pollock getting the night off here in this one. Miller looks in, has his sign, checks Rodriguez at third, the pitch. And Fish takes his first pitch inside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count. Big double play there for Jarrett Miller. Erases the men at first base. Ricky Rodriguez moved up to third on the ground ball. Miller has his sign, he's set, and the 1-0. And Fish, a ground ball hit slowly to the left side and it'll go foul, so the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count here on Zach Fish. Fish coming from the Winston-Salem Dash of the Chicago White Sox organization. Spent 3 years in the White Sox minor league system. 234, 18 home runs, and 74 RBIs in his time with the White Sox organization, bouncing between rookie ball and single A. Miller has his sign. He's set, and the 1-1. And Fish takes this one high for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count on the Wild Things catcher. Kyle Pollock getting the night off after starting all 3 games against the River City Rascals. Pollock actually hasn't had a night off in the last 2 weeks. Alex McKeon was his backup, but went on the DL with on the 60-day DL with a hand injury. Fish takes this next pitch high, and the count goes to 3-1. 3 balls and a strike here on Zach Fish. McKeon on that 60-day DL. Injured his hand a couple of weeks ago. Was on the active roster until before the doubleheader against River City. Miller has his sign. He's set the 3-1, and that one's high ball 4. So Zach Fish takes the walk, a 2-out walk, and now there are runners at first and third with 2 men away, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo so far in the day 0 for 1, second on the team with 26 RBIs on the season, trying to drive in Ricky Rodriguez from third base and put the first run on the board for your Washington Wild Things. This will bring the pitching coach out of the dugout for Southern Illinois to have a talk with Jarrett Miller. As we said, the Southern Illinois Miners leading the West Division standings. They entered today with a record of 39-17. The next closest team to them is Evansville. They sit at 32-24. Then Gateway Grizzlies 11.5 back at 29-30. River City 12.5 at 26-29. Normal Corn Belchers 13.5 back. They're 26-31. And the Florence Freedom round out that West Division. They are 15.5 back of the Southern Illinois Miners with a record of 24-33. Southern Illinois has not lost since the All-Star break. They've been on a roll. They've played 2 games against Joliet. Their third game was suspended due to rain, and they swept the series they swept the Wild Things coming off of the All-Star break. So they're perfect 5-0 since that All-Star break. Wild Things trying to knock them off here tonight. Meeting on the mound over, and Jimmy Yezzo will step in. His 26 RBIs, good for second on this Washington Wild Things team. Runners at first and third, 2 men out, 1 hit on the day for the Wild Things. As Jarrett Miller has walked 3 with Zach Fish over there at first base. Miller looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch to Yezzo. And this one lined down the left field line, foul back into the seats. Count goes to no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on Jimmy Yezzo, tied for the team lead with 8 home runs. Him and Popkins each have 8 on the season. Runners at first and third, 2 outs. Yezzo looking for a single up the middle to drive Rodriguez in. Miller has his sign, he's set, and the 0-1. And Yezzo fouls this one back into the seats. Count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2, 2 men out, top of the fourth. 2-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things in this one. Ricky Rodriguez, the runner at third, and Zach Fish, the runner over at first base. Jarrett Miller looks in, has his sign, checks Fish at first, and the pitch. And this one swung on and missed in the dirt, and that will end the inning. The first strikeout of the day for Jarrett Miller. No runs in the inning for the Wild Things on 1 hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base. After 3.5, the score, Southern Illinois 2, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
Enjoy shopping and dining at one of Ohio Valley Mall's 100 merchants, including Boscov's, MC Sports, Hibbett Sports, Pat Catan's, Christopher & Banks, Men's Warehouse, and many more. Check out the new Buckle Store. And coming soon, Buffalo Wild Wings. If the little ones need a break, head to the Kids Zone, sponsored by Ohio Valley Medical Center and East Ohio Regional Hospital, your community hospitals.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the fourth, and the score, Southern Illinois 2 and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Chase Cunningham back out there for his 4th inning of work. Last inning for the Southern Illinois Miners, Shane Kennedy and Craig Massey walked to start the inning with an Alex De Leon flew out, Nolan Early grounded out, and Steve Marino popped out to end the inning. Due up here in the 4th against Chase Cunningham, it's Kurt Wirtz Jr., Riley Moore, and Francisco Rosario, 7, 8, and 9, facing off against the Wild Things right-hander. Now, Cunningham started out last inning on a bad note, walking the first 2 men he saw, but then took him 3 pitches to get the 3 outs he needed to get out of that inning. So Cunningham looking for an efficient inning, is not at a 1-2-3 inning to this point, looking for one here in the 4th, facing the second half of this Southern Illinois Miners lineup. 7, 8, and 9, Wirtz Jr., Riley Moore, and Francisco Rosario to the plate. Now, Kurt Wirtz Jr. leading things off in his 3rd game with Southern Illinois. Came in today hitting .333 in his time with the Miners. All singles. He does have 3 RBIs, or excuse me, 2 singles, or 1 single and a home run. Does have 3 RBIs, that 3-run shot, driving in all 3 of those runs. 6 at-bats, 2 hits to start his Southern Illinois Miners career. So Wirtz Jr. doing a very nice job early on in his career for the Miners. The Wild Things saw Wirtz Jr. earlier in the year when he was a member of the Evansville Otters. Saw him back in Consol Energy Park as he played for the Otters, now a member of the first-place Southern Illinois Miners. He's stepping in to lead things off here in the bottom of the 4th. Wirtz Jr. so far, a single in his first at-bat in this ball game. Cunningham looking for an efficient 4th inning. Had to throw 22 pitches in the first inning, and his pitch count hasn't gotten much better since then. He's had a lot of at-bats where he's had to labor to get the outs. Cunningham set, here's the pitch, and Wirtz Jr. takes this one outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Kurt Wirtz Jr. up there, the number 7 man in the Southern Illinois Miners lineup. Cunningham's 1-0, and that one's low for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count. Chase Cunningham falling behind the first batter, and that's been his problem these last 2 innings, especially falling behind guys. In the first inning, it just happened to be early contact, and they hit him hard and often. Now Cunningham falling behind these last 2 innings. 2-0 now to Wirtz. Here comes the pitch. And that one is just outside for a ball. Count goes to 3 balls and no strikes. 3-0 the count on Kurt Wirtz Jr. Nobody out, bottom of the 4th. 2-0 Southern Illinois leads. Here's the 3-0. And that one's inside, ball 4. 4-pitch walk to start the 4th inning. And the leadoff man has reached in all 4 innings for Southern Illinois. Wirtz Jr. will be on first. And that'll bring up the catcher, Riley Moore. Moore so far 0 for 1. Hit into a 3-6-1 double play his last time up that would eliminate Kurt Wirtz Jr. after Wirtz Jr. reached base to begin the bottom of the 2nd inning. Nobody out, a runner on. Zach Fish going out to calm down Chase Cunningham. Cunningham not finding the zone, was not very happy with that 2-0 call. Thought that one hit the corner, and he'll have to regroup after the walk and try to get Riley Moore. Nobody out, bottom of the 4th. 2-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Chase Cunningham looks in. Checks first. Cunningham has his sign. He's set. And the pitch on the way. And this one lined in right field, and that'll be a base hit. Rounding second, heading to third is Wirtz Jr., and with nobody out, there'll be runners at first and third. Wirtz Jr., a big turnaround third, throw to third, and they got him! A heads-up play by Austin Wobrock. Kurt Wirtz Jr., a big turnaround third base, and he is caught off the bag. Grant Fink applying the tag, and that is out number 1. A single for Riley Moore, but Kurt Wirtz Jr. cut down at third base, and that makes the situation a little better. Now runner at first with 1 man out, and that'll bring to the plate the shortstop, Francisco Rosario. Rosario so far, no official at-bat, walked his first time and would steal second. Runner at first, 2 outs after that base running mishap by Kurt Wirtz Jr. Cunningham has his sign, the pitch, and that one's on the outside corner for a strike, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count, bad base running there for Southern Illinois. It turned a good situation into a bad situation. Throw over to first, and Riley Moore gets back in there. A single for Riley Moore. Kurt Wirtz Jr. thrown out as he took a big turnaround third. Wobrock a heads-up play, firing over to Fink and getting the out over there. Cunningham has his sign. Here's the pitch. And this one swung on and missed by Rosario. No balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count. Cunningham still looking for his first strikeout of the night. Has had 2 walks this evening. And given up 2 runs, both earned. Cunningham shakes off the first sign. Now has one he likes. Checks Moore at first. And the 0-2. And this one fouled off to the screen. Count will remain. No balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count here on Francisco Rosario, the number 9 hitter in this Southern Illinois Miners order. Rosario, 236 average coming into this one. One of 2 Miners players not to hit a home run. Rosario and Brendan O'Brien both looking for their first home runs of the season. Throw over to first. And once again, Riley Moore back in there. Moore over there at first has not stolen a base in 23 games this season, but still Cunningham keeping an eye on him. Cunningham has his sign and the 0-2. And that one's inside for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Rosario turning out of the way of that one. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and 1 man out, bottom of the 4th. Southern Illinois leads this one 2-0 over your Wild Things. Cunningham has his sign, the 1-2. And this one grounded to second. Magruder has it to second for one, on to first, and it's a double play, and that will end the inning. 4-6-3, and there's no runs in the inning on one hit, no errors, and one man left on base. After 4 innings of play, the score, Southern Illinois 2, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School. Lead, don't follow.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the fifth, and the score, Southern Illinois 2, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Jarrett Miller back out there for his 5th inning of work. Last inning for the Wild Things, Ricky Rodriguez walked to lead things off, then a single by Chris Grayson put runners at first and second with nobody out. Looked like a good situation for your Wild Things before Dave Popkins hit into a 4-3 double play, then eliminated Chris Grayson at second. There were 2 outs, runner at third. Zach Fish would walk with 2 outs, so putting runners at first and third. 2 men away before Jimmy Yezzo struck out to end the inning. Due up here in the 5th, Grant Fink, Andrew Heck, and Austin Wobrock, 7, 8, and 9, taking on Jarrett Miller. Now, Miller, besides, has not been very good in his career against the Washington Wild Things. Has 2 starts, 1 relief appearance. He has a record of 1-1 and 8.40 ERA in those 3 appearances against the Wild Things. Last time out, as we said, 6 2/3 innings, gave up 4 runs, 3 earned, 9 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts in a win on Sunday that made his record go to 4-2. But statistically, his career 8.40 ERA against the Wild Things, 1-1 in 3 appearances. So he's doing very well tonight. However, no runs, just 1 hit through 4 innings of work. Grant Fink making his way to the plate to lead things off here in the top of the 5th. Fink so far 0 for 1 with a ground out on the day. Looking to get things started here in the 5th inning for your Washington Wild Things. Wild Things enter today 29 wins on the season, looking for their 30th win. Southern Illinois looking for their 40th. They sit at 39 wins on the year. Miller set, here's the pitch, and Fink lines this one into right field, coming on and diving and making the catch is Nolan Early. An impressive catch by Early, and that is out number 1 here in the top of the 5th. Early robbing Grant Fink of a base hit, came on, dove, caught the ball about an inch off of the outfield turf, and there is 1 out for your Wild Things here in the top of the 5th. That'll bring to the plate left fielder Andrew Heck. Heck so far 0 for 1, grounded out in his first at-bat. 1 out, top of the 5th, 2-0 Southern Illinois leads. Miller has his sign, the pitch, and Heck takes this one for a strike on the outside corner. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Andrew Heck out there in left field for the Wild Things today. An interchangeable position for the Wild Things as of late. Grant Fink and Andrew Heck both splitting time out there. Miller has his sign, the pitch, and Heck takes this one at the knees for a strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count. Jarrett Miller just giving up 1 hit so far in this ball game. The single by Chris Grayson in the top of the 4th. Miller has his sign. He's set in the 0-2. And Heck takes this one low for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count. Andrew Heck, the only veteran on this Wild Things team, 4 years in the organization. Miller has his sign, the 1-2. And this one fouled back to the screen. Count will remain 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count here on Andrew Heck. 1 man out, top of the 5th. Heck trying to get on base. Grant Fink nearly did before Nolan Early coming in and making a very nice diving play to rob Fink of a hit. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Miller has his sign, the pitch. And Heck, a ground ball towards shortstop. Rosario bobbles it, and it goes into center field for a base hit. Andrew Heck reaches base. Rosario had to charge all the way to his left. They do give Heck a single, as that would have been a tough play for Rosario to make. It's a base hit for Andrew Heck, and the Wild Things have a runner on with 1 man out. That'll bring up the shortstop, Austin Wobrock. Wobrock, no official at-bat to this point. He walked his first time around, and in Sunday's game against River City, ended up going 2 for 3, a double, a RBI single, and a ground out on the day. Had the best day against River City. As the Wild Things picked up their first hit in the 6th, Wohlbrock got that first hit in the game. Miller has his sign, the pitch, and Wohlbrock a ground ball to second. Massey has it, second for 1 on to first, and they're not going to have a play at first, so it's a fielder's choice. 4-6 on the putout. Erases Andrew Heck. Austin Wohlbrock replaces him at first. So there's a runner at first, 2 men out, and that'll bring up the second baseman, Jamadric Magruder. Magruder so far 0 for 2 with 2 groundouts in this one. 2 outs, runner at first for the Wild Things. They're down 2-0 to the Southern Illinois Miners. Magruder coming to the plate. Magruder's only seen 2 pitches today. Grounded out on the first pitch of the game, and then the third inning, just 1 pitch, and he grounded out there as well. Jarrett Miller looks in, has his sign, he's set. Checks Wohlbrock at first, throw over there, and Wohlbrock diving, getting back in. As we said, 5 stolen bases on the year for Austin Wohlbrock, tied for the team lead. Himself and Chris Grayson each have 5 on the season for your Wild Things. Miller has his sign, he's set, and the pitch. And Magruder to left field. Coming on is Kurt Wirtz Jr., and he'll make the catch. That is out number 3. No runs in the inning on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. And after 4.5, the score, Southern Illinois 2, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get a sidle up next to a perfect bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
Well, we're back here on the MSA Sports Network, and the lights are out here at Rent One Park. The power has gone out here at the stadium. That's why we had a little bit of an interruption on the broadcast. A power outage here at Rent One Park. They have the backup generators on right now, so they have power in the booth. But right now, the lights are off on the field, and the Wild Things players will have to go back to the dugout. Going to have a little bit of a delay here, as right in the middle of that inning break, the lights went off. The power actually went off here in the booth for a couple of seconds. Power did eventually come back on, and we're running here in the booth, but right now the field is dark. There's no power here. They'll try to get the lights back on. We're going to have a delay here at Rent One Park. Don't know exactly how long this delay will be before the lights come back on, but like we said, we do have power here in the broadcast booth and up in the suite levels. All the suite lights are on, but the field right now, the field lights have gone off here at Rent One Park. Going to take a look at some action around the Frontier League tonight. Got a full slate of games for you on this Friday night here across the Frontier League. And while we wait for those scores to load for you due to the power outage, had to reconnect to the internet here. The Wild Things are down 2-0 right now to the Southern Illinois Miners. Lights have gone out here at Rent One Park. Last inning for the Southern Illinois Miners, Kurt Wirtz Jr. would walk to start things. Then Riley Moore singled, and Francisco Rosario hit into a double play to end last inning. So the power has gone out here at Rent One Park, waiting for the lights to come back on the field. As we said, power is on in the suite level, but right now on the field, we do not have power, waiting for those lights to come back on for the players to resume. The Wild Things were taking the field, and Chase Cunningham was just about to go through his warm-up tosses when the power went out. So we will have a delay here at Rent One Park, waiting for these lights to come back on. Meanwhile, we're going to keep it right here on the MSA Sports Network. You're listening to Washington Wild Things Baseball. Going to have a little game recap for you here early on. The Wild Things did not get their first hit in the game till the 4th inning. However, the Southern Illinois Miners jumping on the board early in the first inning. Aaron Gates and Shane Kennedy back-to-back doubles scored the first run of the game for Southern Illinois. They led it 2-0 without getting it out in the game. Then Chase Cunningham got Craig Massey to ground out. Alex DeLeon would then hit a sac fly that drove in Shane Kennedy for the second run of the game for Southern Illinois, and they led 2-0 as they do now. Nolan Early would then single, and Steve Marino would ground down. Now, Chase Cunningham's been pitching in and out of trouble all night. In the second inning, Kurt Wirtz Jr. singled before Riley Moore hit into a double play, a 3-6-1 double play for 2 outs and nobody on base. Francisco Rosario would then walk, and Aaron Gates would ground out to end that second inning. In the third, more trouble for Chase Cunningham as the leadoff man Shane Kennedy walked and Craig Massey walked. Then Alex DeLeon, Nolan Early, and Steve Marino all out on one pitch as Alex DeLeon flew out, Nolan Early grounded out, and Steve Marino popped out to end that third inning. Then the fourth, a pretty clean inning for him, faced 3 batters as Kurt Wirtz Jr. walked, Riley Moore singled, and Francisco Rosario hit into a 4-6-3 double play to end the inning. On the other side of the field, Jarrett Miller has been very good on the night. Miller not allowing his first hit until the 4th inning, retiring the first 8 Wild Things he faced before walking Austin Wolbrock in the top of the 3rd. Then got Jamadric Magruder to ground out to end that top of the 3rd inning. Then in the 4th, a walk by Ricky Rodriguez, and Chris Grayson came through with the first hit of the day for the Wild Things. Dave Popkins would then hit into a 4-3 double play. Zach Fish would walk, and Jimmy Yezzo would strike out to end that inning. Then last inning, the Wild Things got another hit. Fink flew out. Andrew Heck singled. Austin Wolbrock hit into a fielder's choice, and Jamadric Magruder flew out to end that inning. And then we got to the bottom of the 5th, and the lights are out here at Rent One Park. Field lights still have not come back on. The concourse lights are on, as well as the suite level lights. They're trying to figure out how to turn the stadium lights back on. We had a power outage here during the last inning break as Chase Cunningham was going to the mound for his warm-up tosses. So we're going to take a break here on the MSA Sports Network. We'll be right back. You're listening to Washington Wild Things Baseball here on the MSA Sports Network.
When looking to replace your athletic field, choose ProGrass, first in turf. ProGrass has installed over 500 fields in the U.S. Getting the best artificial turf for your field depends upon both the product and the partner you choose. That's why architects, athletic directors, and players choose the ProGrass Performance System. ProGrass maintains an active presence in the field turf industry as members of the Sports Turf Management Association and the American Sports Builder Association, and is proud to be recognized as a FIFA preferred manufacturer. Call ProGrass today at 866-270-6003 or visit them on the web at www.progressturf.com. ProGrass, first in turf.
Your Washington Wild Things return home July 26th through the 28th to start a 3-game series with the Normal Corn Belters. Action kicks off on Tuesday, July 26th for the first home game here at Consol Energy Park on the season. 7:05 first pitch. Come out and support Chris Grayson, Jamadric Magruder, Ashton Parrott, and the rest of your Washington Wild Things. The series will continue Wednesday, July 27th at 7:05 for Bucket Hat Night. For $15, you get a bucket hat and a reserve seat ticket. The series will conclude on Thursday, July 28th. And for Thirsty Thursday, all beer and soda here at the park is just $1. Come out and support your Wild Things all season long. For tickets, go to www.washingtonwildthings.com or call the box office at 866-456-WILD. Washington Wild Things Baseball, let's get wild. We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things Baseball, currently in a delay here at Rent One Park, as we're going between the bottom of the 5th and the top of the 5th and the bottom of the 5th. The lights have gone out here at Rent One Park. We do have power up in the booth and at the suite levels. The scoreboard's still powered on, but the stadium lights are not coming on. They're trying to turn them on right now, as they did see a light bulb flicker on the left field light stand, but now it just went back out. So we're going to wait it out and wait for the lights to come back on here at Rent One Park. Going to take a look at some scores from around the league. Evansville Otters currently lead the Schaumburg Boomers by a score of 4-0. That one in Schaumburg in the top of the 7th. The Traverse City Beach Bums are down to the River City Rascals. Rascals leading 5-3 in River City. The Normal Corn Belters are leading the Lake Erie Crushers by a score of 5-1. That game in the top of the 8th. And the top of the 6th, Windy City leads the Gateway Grizzlies 3-2. Bottom of the fifth, your Washington Wild Things are down 2-0 to the Southern Illinois Miners here at Rent One Park. And in the top of the seventh, the Florence Freedom are winning over the Joliet Slammers. Freedom have a 7-6 lead in that one. So that's good news for the Wild Things. The Wild Things entered today a half game back of those Joliet Slammers. While we're in this delay, waiting for the lights to come back on, going to take a look at the upcoming schedule for your Washington Wild Things. They'll return home July 26th to the 28th to take on the Normal Corn Belters. Then they'll start a big 9-game road trip, 10-day road trip, as they'll go to Florence for 3, July 29th through the 31st. Then August 2nd through the 4th, they will be at Evansville. And August 5th through the 7th, they'll be at River City. Then they'll return home August 9th through the 11th to take on the Lake Erie Crushers. You can hear all those games right here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. We are currently in a light delay as the power went out between the bottom of the fifth and the top of the top of the fifth and the bottom of the fifth. And momentarily, the whole stadium lost power. Right now, the booth and the suite levels all have power. So does the main concourse and the scoreboard. But unfortunately, the lights are not on here at Rent One Park, and the players cannot see to continue this game. It's currently 2-0 Southern Illinois in the bottom half of the fifth inning. It technically is a full game, so I don't know if they would call this game due to not being able to get the lights back on. And we do see some Wild Things players running on the field, running out towards the bullpen. They are waiting for the lights to come back on here. Players stretching from both clubs. So we are in a delay here. 2-0 Southern Illinois leads this one. While we have some time, let's going to take a look at the standings here in both divisions, since the Wild Things from the Frontier League East and the Southern Illinois Miners from the Frontier League West. The Joliet Slammers currently lead the Frontier League East with a record of 30-26. Then your Washington Wild Things sit in second at 29-26, currently a half game back of those Joliet Slammers. Then the Lake Erie Crushers, 27-28. They've been on a surge lately, rising all the way from the 5th place spot in the Frontier League East all the way up to the 3rd place spot. They're 2.5 back at 27-28. Then the Windy City Thunderbolts, who were leading this division for most of the year to begin the season, are now in 4th place, 27-30. They're 3.5 back. Then the Schaumburg Boomers sit in 5th at 26-32. They're 5 back. And Traverse City rounds out the Frontier League East standings at 24-33. They sit 6.5 back of the Joliet Slammers. Then in the West Division, these Southern Illinois Miners have been rolling, have not lost a game since the All-Star break. A perfect 5-0 as they swept your Washington Wild Things and then swept a rain-shortened 2-game series with the Joliet Slammers. Their record sits at 39-17. The second place team in that Frontier League West, the Evansville Otters, sit at 32-24. Then the Gateway Grizzlies sit in 3rd at 29-30. River City sits in 4th, 26-29. They're 12.5 back of the Southern Illinois Miners. The Normal Corn Belters sit in 5th at 26-31. They're 13.5 back. And then the Florence Freedom round out that West Division with a record of 24-33. They sit 15.5 back of the first place Southern Illinois Miners. Currently in a light delay here at Rent One Park as they're trying to get the lights back on, as slowly but surely some of the light bulbs are coming on in those outfield stands. We've been in this delay for about 10 minutes now, waiting for these lights to come on. As we said, the power went out between the top of the 5th and the bottom of the 5th. The players could not see. Chase Cunningham was getting ready to go through his warm-up tosses, and the lights went out. So we're waiting for the lights to come back on here at Rent One Park in Marion, Illinois. Going to take another break, but we'll be right back with more Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute, that keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise, we insure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfield playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Lights slowly but surely coming back on here at Rent One Park. Power went out between the top of the fifth and the bottom of the fifth inning. Just got word here from officials at Rent One Park. It'll be about 10 minutes before we resume action as the lights slowly turn back on. Wild Things currently down 2-0 to the Southern Illinois Miners going into the bottom of the fifth inning. As you see on your screen, if you're watching the stream, lights coming on over in the outfield. So we're just about 10 minutes away from resuming this ball game as the lights slowly turning back on. Chase Cunningham will be going out for his fifth inning of work. Have sat through about a 15-minute delay so far. Going to be about another 10 minutes before we resume action between the Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Have anything you want to talk about or have any questions about the Washington Wild Things, send me a tweet at BigZig73, and I'll answer them on the air. Currently in a light delay here between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Wild Things down 2-0 to the Southern Illinois Miners here from Rent One Park in Marion, Illinois. Going to take another break here on MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. We'll be right back here from Rent One Park in Marion, Illinois.
Enjoy shopping and dining at one of Ohio Valley Mall's 100 merchants, including Boscov's, MC Sports, Hibbett Sports, Pat Catan's, Christopher & Banks, Men's Warehouse, and many more. Check out the new Buckle Store. And coming soon, Buffalo Wild Wings. If the little ones need a break, head to the Kids Zone, sponsored by Ohio Valley Medical Center and East Ohio Regional Hospital, your community hospitals.
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School. Lead, don't follow.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, getting ready to resume baseball here in the bottom of the fifth. The lights went out here at Rent One Park between the top of the fifth and the bottom of the fifth inning. Chase Cunningham was getting ready to throw some warm-up tosses before the lights went out here at Rent One Park. We have stayed with you through this entire delay. Going to be about 5 more minutes before the Wild Things are able to take the field. All the lights slowly but surely coming on out in the outfield. Only a couple of those light bulbs not on. The lights went out between the top of the fifth and the bottom of the fifth inning. Southern Illinois currently leading this one 2-0 over your Washington Wild Things. Chase Cunningham, a rough first inning, gave up 2 runs in that first inning. The first run came with nobody out. It was 1-0 Southern Illinois. And then Southern Illinois getting their second run later in that inning on a sacrifice fly by Alex De Leon. That's the only scoring so far in this game. And now the Wild Things retaking the field here from Rent One Park, and we are ready to resume baseball. Chase Cunningham going to go through his warm-up tosses here going into the bottom of the fifth. So far, no 1-2-3 innings for Chase Cunningham so far in this one. Has faced 3 batters one time in the fourth inning. Faced 4 batters in the second. In that fourth inning, he walked Kurt Wirtz Jr., gave a single to Riley Moore, and had Francisco Rosario hitting a 4-6-3 double play to end that inning. Now Cunningham, only in his second career start against the Southern Illinois Miners, made his first career start on Sunday, went 4 innings, he had 7 runs all earned, on 7 hits, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts in the loss that dropped his record to 3-5 on the season. So his career against Southern Illinois, 0-1, a 15.75 ERA in that one start. So far, ever since that first inning, he's been good. He's worked in and out of trouble for most of the night, having 4 walks on the night so far. He's had to work in and out of a lot of trouble, but he has just kept the Miners to the 2 runs and has kept your Wild Things in this ball game. So just sat through a 20-minute light delay, and we are ready for baseball here in the bottom of the 5th with the Southern Illinois Miners leading this one 2-0. Leading things off in the bottom of the 5th will be Aaron Gates, then Shane Kennedy and Craig Massey, 1, 2, and 3, facing off against Chase Cunningham. Cunningham, one more warm-up toss, and we will be ready to go here in the bottom of inning number 5. All Thursday home games at the park this year. Thirsty Thursdays, all beer and soda is just $1 to come out to Consol Energy Park next Thursday, July 28th, when the Wild Things take on the Normal Corn Belters in Game 3 of that 3-game series. And that game will be the last one before the 9-game road trip. So come on out and see your Wild Things end the month of July at Consol Energy Park. Aaron Gates making his way to lead things off here in the bottom of the 5th, back from a light delay as we are ready for baseball. Miners leading 2-0. Gates so far on the night is 1 for 2, doubled and scored a run in the first and grounded out in inning number 2. Stepping up to face Chase Cunningham. Cunningham has his sign. Here's the pitch. And that one's outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Aaron Gates. For Cunningham so far, 4 innings, 2 runs, 2 earned on 5 hits, 4 walks, and no strikeouts. The pitch, and Gates pops this one foul off to the left. Count goes even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cunningham, as we said in the pregame, not very much a strikeout guy. 26 strikeouts in 57 innings of work coming into tonight's ball game, and so far no strikeouts here tonight. Cunningham looks in, has his sign. He's set. Here's the pitch. And this one's fouled off, back into the stands off to the left side, and the count goes to 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cunningham getting ahead of Aaron Gates here in the 5th. That's been his problem the last 2 innings. He's fallen behind early and often, and it's made him pitch from down in the count right now, pitching with a 1-2 count. Cunningham set. Here's the 1-2. And Gates lines this one to center field. Grayson moving over, and he'll make the catch, and that's out number 1 here in the bottom of the 5th. 1 up, 1 down for the Miners, and that brings up the designated hitter, Shane Kennedy. Kennedy so far 1 for 1, RBI double and scored a run in the first, and walked in inning number 3. 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th, 2-0. The Southern Illinois Miners lead over your Washington Wild Things. Wild Things tonight in their red alternate jerseys, Southern Illinois Miners in their white home jerseys. Cunningham looks in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And this one's taken high by Kennedy. 1 ball and no strikes. 1-0 the count. Been a hot one here in Southern Illinois. As temperatures today reached the 90s. Right now we're currently sitting at 85 degrees here at Rent One Park. Here's the pitch. And that one's low for a ball. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count on Shane Kennedy, the DH for the Southern Illinois Miners. Only played in 1 of the 3 games in the first series at Consol Energy Park when the Miners played against the Wild Things. 2-0 Southern Illinois leads here in the bottom of the 5th. Chase Cunningham on the mound. Thrown 4 1/3 innings of work so far. Has his sign. He's set. Here's the pitch. And that one's high for a ball. Count goes to 3-0. So after getting the fly out to start the inning, a 3-0 count right now to the designated hitter, Shane Kennedy. Crowd about 3/4 of the way full here at Rent One Park. Fireworks Friday. And that pitch is outside, ball 4. 4-pitch walk, 5th walk of the day for Chase Cunningham. There's a runner at first and 1 man out, and that'll bring up the second baseman, Craig Massey. Massey so far 0 for 1 with a walk on the day. Grounded out in the first and walked in inning number 3. The 1-out walk has a runner on base for the Southern Illinois Miners. Massey at the plate facing off against Chase Cunningham. Cunningham looks in, has his sign. He's set, checks first. And the pitch coming to Massey. Taking off for second is Kennedy. Pitch called strike. The throw, and not in time. Shane Kennedy getting in there. His 2nd stolen base of the day. His 12th stolen base of the year. And there's a runner at second now with 1 man out. That pitch right down the middle by Chase Cunningham, but taken by Craig Massey for a strike. So no balls and a strike here on Craig Massey. Massey currently leads the Southern Illinois Miners team with his .327 batting average. Cunningham looks in, He's set, checks second, and the 0-1. And that one bounces up to the plate, blocked by Zach Fish behind home plate, and the count goes to 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kyle Pollock, known for his defensive ability behind the plate for the Wild Things, actually has a stretch of 5 straight caught stealings under his belt. Zach Fish making his Wild Things debut here in this one tonight. 2 men have stolen on him on the night. Cunningham has his sign, checks second, and the 1-1. And that one's in the dirt and gets by Zach Fish. And Kennedy will move up to third. Thought about going home, but Fish gets to that one quickly. So a wild pitch gets Kennedy up to third now with 1 man out. And Craig Massey at the plate as Southern Illinois looks to add on. Southern Illinois leads 2-0 here. 1 out, bottom of the 5th. Chase Cunningham trying to work out of this 5th inning. Had about a 20-minute delay before the start of this bottom of the 5th inning as the lights went out here at Rent One Park. Now they are back on, and we are resuming baseball. Cunningham looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 2-1. And that one's low for a ball. 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count on Craig Massey is starting the inning off with a 1-2 count against Gates before getting the fly out. Now going back to being wild here with 1 out in the bottom of the 5th. Cunningham has his sign, the 3-1. And that one's in the dirt, ball 4. The 6th walk of the day for Chase Cunningham. And now there are runners at first and third with 1 man out. And that'll bring to the plate the first baseman, Alex DeLeon. DeLeon so far 0 for 1. He has a sacrifice fly and a fly out on the day. Zach Fish going back out there to talk to Chase Cunningham. Cunningham very frustrated with himself on the night. 6 walks on the day through 4 1/3 innings of work. Still no action out in that Washington Wild Things bullpen. And they really can have action this early as both their long relievers, Sam Agnew-Whelan and Brian O'Keefe, scheduled to start in this series. Agnew-Whelan scheduled for tomorrow, and Brian O'Keefe scheduled for Sunday. Alex DeLeon stepping in, so Cunningham's going to have to work through his struggles here in this one and at least get to the 6th inning. Cunningham looking in, Grant Fink playing on the grass at third base. Jimmy Yezzo holding the runner on at first in the middle infield at double play depth. 1 out here, bottom of the 5th. 2-0 Southern Illinois leads. Runners at first and third here with 1 man out. Aaron Gates flew out to start the inning, and Shane Kennedy walked, stole second, moved up to third on a wild pitch, and then Craig Massey walked. He's at first. Here's the pitch, and that one's outside and low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Alex DeLeon over at first base for Southern Illinois. Actually caught the last 2 games for the Southern Illinois Miners as he did some catching in his college days. He's the backup to Riley Moore with Tony DeMello on the DL. Cunningham has his sign. He's set, checks first in the pitch. And this one's fouled back behind the screen, and the count goes to 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 man out. Aaron Gates flew out to start the inning. And now there is action out there in the Washington Wild Things bullpen. Chase Cunningham looking in to Zach Fish. Runner at third is Shane Kennedy. Runner at first, Craig Massey. Throw over to first, and Massey able to get back in there. Massey on the season, 12 stolen bases in 48 games for him. Cunningham looks in, checks first, has his sign, he's set, and the 1-1. Massey taking off for second. Pitch swung on a miss, no throw from Fish. So Massey gets in there with his 13th stolen base of the year. And now there are runners at second and third with 1 man out, a 1-2 count on Alex DeLeon at the plate. So now it's more crucial that Cunningham gets DeLeon out. Wild Things infield comes in. Outfield stays at normal depth. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 man out, and Alex DeLeon at the plate. Chase Cunningham looking in to Zach Fish. Cunningham has his sign. He's set, checks third, and the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. And that one's outside for a ball. Count goes even at 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and the throw almost got away from Chase Cunningham. The throw back by Zach Fish. Jamadrick Magruder and Austin Wobrock both ready to back up that throw. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, bottom of the 5th. 2-0 Southern Illinois leads. Cunningham looks in. Has his sign, he's set. Checks third, and the 2-2. And that one's inside for a ball. Count goes full at 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 man out. Here in the bottom of the 5th, infield in for the Wild Things. Runner at third is Shane Kennedy. Runner at second is Craig Massey. Both walked. So they have 2 men on without the courtesy of a hit. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Nick Nolan Early, the on-deck man for the Miners. Cunningham looks in, has his sign, he's set. Checks the runner at third, and the 3-2. And this one fouled back to the screen. Count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. Right into the count on Alex DeLeon, the cleanup hitter for the Southern Illinois Miners. Has been the cleanup hitter in all 4 games between these 2 teams. Southern Illinois taking each of the first 3 games. All close-scoring games, 4-2 in Game 1 of the series in Consol, 4-3 Game 2, 11-7 in Game 3, and now 2-0 here in Game 1 out here at Rent One Park in Marion, Illinois. Cunningham looking into Zach Fish. Cunningham has his sign. He's set, and the 3-2. And this one fouled back again, so DeLeon staying alive against Cunningham. Cunningham's gotten into these 2-strike counts today, but really hasn't had that finishing pitch. Guys have fouled off a lot of pitches. He had an 11-pitch at-bat to Craig Massey before walking, and Massey fouled off 4 straight pitches before drawing that walk. And Cunningham just hasn't been able to get the ball by anybody here tonight. Cunningham looks into Fish. Has his sign, he's set. Checks third and the 3-2. And this ball grounded foul. Almost made the play over there, did manager Mike Pinto at third base, as that one skips by him down the left field line. Logan Uxa will go retrieve it. Still 3-2, 1 man out, bottom of the 5th. Had a 20-minute light delay before this inning as the lights went out between the top of the 5th and the bottom of the 5th, just as Chase Cunningham was going out to throw his warm-up tosses for this 5th inning. Cunningham looking into Zach Fish. Cunningham wants to go through the signs once more. Now has one he likes. He's set, checks third, and the 3-2. And this ball lined on the left field line, and this one's hooking, and it'll go foul. Another foul ball, 4 straight foul balls now for Alex DeLeon as he's battling Chase Cunningham. That reliever out there in the bullpen for the Wild Things is ready if he is needed. You got to think Jarrett Miller has been sitting a long time since that top of the 5th inning. A 20-minute delay to start the top of the 5th, and right now Cunningham has had a 15-minute bottom of the 5th. So right now Jarrett Miller has been sitting for 35 minutes in that Southern Illinois Miners bullpen dugout without throwing a pitch. Cunningham has his sign, checks Kennedy at third, and the pitch. And this one hit towards right center field, and that'll get down. Kennedy will score. Massey will be waved around third. He will score as well as the throw comes back in. It's a 2 RBI double by Alex DeLeon, and Southern Illinois now leads this one 4-0 over your Washington Wild Things. 2 runs come in for DeLeon. It's RBIs number 44 and 45 on the season. It's now 4-0 Southern Illinois here in the bottom of the 5th. That'll bring manager Greg Langben out of the Wild Things dugout, and it looks like we will have a pitching change. So we're going to take a break here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. We'll be right back. Southern Illinois leading this one 4-0.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get a sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
When looking to replace your athletic field, choose ProGrass, first in turf. ProGrass has installed over 500 fields in the U.S. Getting the best artificial turf for your field depends upon both the product and the partner you choose. That's why architects, athletic directors, and players choose the ProGrass Performance System. ProGrass maintains an active presence in the field turf industry as members of the Sports Turf Management Association and the American Sports Builder Association, and is proud to be recognized as a FIFA preferred manufacturer. Call ProGrass today at 866-270-6003 or visit them on the web at www.progressturf.com. ProGrass, first in turf.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, currently in the bottom of the fifth, and the score, Southern Illinois 4 and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Pitching change for your Wild Things is now coming on. Right-hander Colin Stanley. Stanley a record of 3-1, one save on the season, a 3.19 ERA, appearing in his 20th game, has thrown 25 in the third innings of work, giving up 10 runs, 9 earned on 22 hits, 9 walks, and 20 strikeouts on the season for Stanley. Final line for tonight's starter, Chase Cunningham, not fully in the books yet. 4 1/3 innings of work so far, 4 runs, all earned on 6 hits, 6 walks, and no strikeouts for Cunningham on the day. This inning developed like this. Aaron Gates flew out to start things. Then back-to-back walks to Shane Kennedy and Craig Massey had runners set up at first and third. Kennedy got to third after stealing second and moving to third on the wild pitch. Then Massey walked, stole second. There were runners at second and third, 1 out. And Alex DeLeon, after battling Chase Cunningham, came through with a 2 RBI double, driving in both Kennedy and Massey and giving the Miners this 4-0 lead. Coming to the plate now in the bottom of the fifth, 1 out runner at second will be Nolan Early. Early so far 1 for 2, single in the first and grounded out in inning number 3. 1 out here in the bottom of the fifth. Second straight start that Chase Cunningham has gone less than 5 innings in a start. Colin Stanley coming in to relieve him here in this one. Stanley looks in, has his sign, he's set, checks second, and the pitch on the way. And this ball popped up, foul territory off to the left. That'll get back into the seats, so it'll be strike 1, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on Nolan Early. Early out in right field. Also saw Early in left field in the series against the Wild Things at Consol Energy Park. Runner at second, Alex DeLeon. He reached on a 2 RBI double with 1 out. Now Colin Stanley into the game, facing Nolan Early. Stanley has his sign, checks second, and the 0-1 pitch. And this ball lined into center field. Chris Grayson coming on. He's not going to make the catch. DeLeon will be waved to the plate. Here comes Grayson's throw. It's cut off by Yezo. DeLeon scores, and Southern Illinois now leads 5-0. An RBI single by Nolan Early drives in Alex DeLeon. It is now 5-0 Miners, and that closes the book on Chase Cunningham. Officially gives up 5 runs, all earned, in 4 1/3 innings of work on 6 hits, walked 6, and struck out none in the outing. That'll bring up the third baseman, Steve Marino. Marino so far in the day, 0 for 2, grounded out in the first and popped out in inning number 3. 5-0 Southern Illinois leads over your Washington Wild Things. Nolan Early at first base after the RBI single. Stanley has his sign, checks over there, and the pitch. And Marino takes this one outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Steve Marino, and the throwback from Zach Fish gets by Colin Stanley. Austin Wodrock and Jamadrick Magruder having to cut that ball off. 1-0, 1 man out. Game was moving along pretty quickly before that light delay, and now the game is slowed down. A very long bottom of the 5th inning for the Washington Wild Things after the 20-minute light delay. Stanley has his sign. He's set in the 1-0. And that one's high for a ball. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count. Not what you wanted from Colin Stanley, coming out of the bullpen being wild himself, as he's down 2-0 here to Steve Marino. Marino, the captain of these Southern Illinois Miners. Runner at first here, Nolan Early, with 1 man out. Stanley has his sign. He's set in the 2-0. And this one grounded to third. Fink has it to second for 1 on to first. And it is in time for the double play. And the inning is over. 5-4-3. And that ends the inning. But the Miners get 3 runs in the inning, courtesy of 2 hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. After 5 innings of play, the score, Southern Illinois 5, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network. Your Washington Wild Things return home July 26th through the 28th to start a 3-game series with the Normal Corn Belters. Action kicks off on Tuesday, July 26th for the first home game here at Consol Energy Park on the season. 7:05 first pitch. Come out and support Chris Grayson, Jamadrick Magruder, Ashton Parrott, and the rest of your Washington Wild Things. The series will continue Wednesday, July 27th at 7:05 for Bucket Hat Night. For $15, you get a bucket hat and a reserve seat ticket. The series will conclude on Thursday, July 28th. And for Thirsty Thursday, all beer and soda here at the park is just $1. Come out and support your Wild Things all season long. For tickets, Go to www.WashingtonWildThings.com or call the box office at 866-456-WILD. Washington Wild Things Baseball, let's get wild. We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things Baseball, going to the top of the 6th, and the score, Southern Illinois 5 and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Last inning for the Wild Things, Grant Fink flew out to start things, then Andrew Heck singled, and Austin Wolbrock grounded into a fielder's choice to end the inning. Due up here in the 6th for the Wild Things, Jamadric Magruder, Ricky Rodriguez, and Chris Grayson. Jarrett Miller so far very good. Through 5 innings of work, has given up no runs on just 2 hits, while walking 2 men and striking out nobody in his outing so far. But we'll see. The top of the 5th inning ended at 9:35 Eastern time, and with that 20-minute light delay and the bottom of the 5th, it's now 10:09 Eastern time. So Jarrett Miller has been sitting for almost 40 minutes here coming into this 6th inning. So we'll see if that affects him at all. Ricky Rodriguez making his way to the plate to lead things off here in the top of the 6th. Rodriguez 0 for 1 so far, flew out in the 1st and walked in inning number 4. Top of the 6th, 5-0. Southern Illinois Miners lead over your Washington Wild Things in this one. Ricky Rodriguez at the plate trying to get things started here in the top of the 6th. Jarrett Miller looks in, has his sign, here's the pitch. And Rodriguez takes this one at the letters for a strike, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on the Wild Things DH. Ricky Rodriguez getting the DH duty today instead of third base. Grant Fink out there in the field. Miller has his sign, the 0-1, and Rodriguez fouls this one off, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count. Jarrett Miller so far so good through 5 innings, as we said. No very laboring innings for him. The most pitches he threw was in inning number 4, where he ended up throwing 23 pitches in the inning. No balls, 2 strikes. The count on Ricky Rodriguez through 8 pitches in the 1st inning, through 13 in the 2nd, through a total of 14 in the 3rd, 23 in the 4th, and last inning a very quick inning for him. The 0-2, and this one lined in the left field, and it's a base hit. Leadoff single for Ricky Rodriguez has the leadoff man on for the Wild Things. That's the 2nd time today the Wild Things have had the leadoff man on, and that'll bring to the plate center fielder Chris Grayson. Grayson 1 for 2, one of the 2 Wild Things hits on the day, as Grayson has flown out in the 1st and singled in inning number 4. Runner at first, nobody out here for the Wild Things in the top of the 6th, trying to come back, down 5-0 to the Southern Illinois Miners. Right-hander Jarrett Miller on the mound, facing the left-handed batter Chris Grayson. Jarrett Miller looking in to Riley Moore. Miller has his sign. He's set. And the pitch coming to Grayson. That one's way outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Grayson. After that long layoff, we saw Miller go 0-2 to Rodriguez before Rodriguez singled. Now falling behind Chris Grayson. 1 ball and no strikes. So see, doesn't look like right now that layoff has affected him. Miller has his sign, checks first, and the 1 ball, no strike pitch. That one's outside as well. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count on Chris Grayson. Nobody out, top of the 6th. 5-0. Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Jarrett Miller looks in, has his sign, checks Rodriguez at first, and the 2 ball, no strike pitch. And Grayson hits this one to center field. Aaron Gates coming on a couple of steps, and he'll make the catch for out number 1. That's the first out here in the top of the 6th for your Wild Things, and that'll bring on the right fielder Dave Popkins. Popkins so far 0 for 2, lined out in the 2nd and hit into a 4-3 double play in inning number 4. 1 man out, runner at first for the Wild Things, as Ricky Rodriguez started this inning off with a single after the Grayson flyout. Jarrett Miller looking in. Rodriguez takes his lead from first. 1 stolen base on the year for Ricky Rodriguez. Miller has his sign. He's set. Checks over there. And the pitch. And Popkins takes this one just outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on the Wild Things right fielder. 1 man out, top of the 6th. 5-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Wild Things. Miller looks in. Has his sign. He's set. And the 1-0. And Popkins takes this one outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Miller falling behind each of the last 2 hitters by a count of 2-0. Chris Grayson, after the 2-0 count, flew out to center. Now we'll see what Dave Popkins does with his 2 ball, no strike count. Jarrett Miller looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 2-0. And Popkins takes this one outside. 3 straight balls hitting that outside corner, and the count 3-0 here on Dave Popkins. 3 balls, no strikes, 1 out. Ricky Rodriguez, the runner at first for your Wild Things. Miller set, and the 3-0. Throw over to first, and Rodriguez gets back in there. Count remains 3 balls, no strikes. Southern Illinois leads 5-0 over your Washington Wild Things. Miller has his sign. He's set, and a check to first, the 3-0. And Popkins takes this one on the inside corner for a strike. 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count of the Wild Things right fielder. Popkins leads the team with 27 RBIs. Currently is third on the team in hitting with 295 and tied for the team lead in homers with 8. Miller set in the pitch, and Popkins takes this one for a strike at the letters. Count goes full 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Zach Fish, the on-deck batter for your Washington Wild Things. Fish in his Wild Things debut here tonight. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 man out. Dave Popkins at the plate. Jarrett Miller looking in, has his sign. He's set. Checks Rodriguez at first, and the 3-2. And it's outside ball 4. So Dave Popkins walks. That puts runners at first and second for the Wild Things with 1 man out, and that brings to the plate the catcher, Zach Fish. Fish so far 0 for 1, grounded out and walked to this point, making his Wild Things debut tonight, giving Kyle Pollock a night off in this one. There is action out in the Southern Illinois minor bullpen now, just in case, as Fish comes to the plate. Ricky Rodriguez, the runner at second, he singled to lead things off. Then Chris Grayson flew out, and Dave Popkins walked. Popkins standing over there at first. Wild Things trying to break through. They've been held scoreless through the first 5 innings of this game. 2 on and 1 out. Their best chance on the day so far. Jarrett Miller looks in. Now time is called behind the plate as manager Mike Pinto coming out now to discuss something with the home plate umpire. Chris Diekman, he's actually giving him some more baseballs as he ran out of baseballs. And now they're calling the bat boy over to discuss something with home plate umpire Chris Diekman. So Mike Pinto out there talking to Diekman right now, going through something. He's having a kind of heated conversation. Now the bat boy coming back over. 2 outs, runners at first and second. Now that conversation is done, and the home plate umpire Diekman coming back behind home plate. Rodriguez at second, he singled to start things, and then Dave Popkins walked with 1 out. He stands over at first. Runners at first and second, 1 man out for the Washington Wild Things. Zach Fish at the plate. 3 hits for the Wild Things on the day, no runs. 5 runs, 7 hits for the Southern Illinois Miners. Jarrett Miller looking in to Riley Moore. And they want to go through the signs once more. Miller now has a sign he wants. He's set, checks Rodriguez at second, and the pitch. And Fish takes this one in the inside corner for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Zach Fish looking to come through here in his first game for the Wild Things. Be a big situation if he could drive a run in. Jarrett Miller looking into Riley Moore. Righty on righty matchup. Miller has his sign. He's set. And the 0-1 pitch. And Fish takes this one inside for a ball. Count goes even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Chris Grayson flew out with 1 out. That's the only out in the inning. Ricky Rodriguez standing at second, and Dave Popkins standing over at first base. Jarrett Miller, the right-hander, looks into Riley Moore. Has his sign. He's set. Checks second, and the 1-1. Throw back to second, and no throw actually, as he'll just look Ricky Rodriguez back to the bag. Rodriguez 1 stolen base at second base. Dave Popkins has 4. He stands at first. Miller now steps off, wants to go through the signs again with Riley Moore. A little bit of a miscommunication here between Moore and Miller. They haven't been on the same page these last couple of pitches. Miller has his sign. He's set. Checks second, and the 1-1. And Fish, a broken back, grounded to third. Handled there by Marino. His only play is going to be to first. Throw over there is in time for out number 2. Meanwhile, Ricky Rodriguez moving up to third on the play, and Dave Popkins moving up to second. 2 outs, runners at second and third, and that'll bring to the plate first baseman Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo so far 0 for 2, flew out in the second, and struck out in inning number 4. Yezzo at the plate. Runners at second and third now with 2 outs as Zach Fish breaks his bat on that ground out And Yezo will now try to drive in a run here in the top of the 6th. Jarrett Miller looks in. Miller has his sign. He's set. Checks Rodriguez at third. And the pitch coming. And Yezo takes this one in the inside corner for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on the left-handed hitting first baseman. Yezo getting his turn out there. Logan Uxa and Jimmy Yezo have been splitting time between first base and DH. Uxa getting the night off tonight as Rodriguez in that DH role. Miller has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Yezo swung on and missed, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. That pitch breaking down and in as it was blocked by Riley Moore behind the plate. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, top of the 6th. Southern Illinois leads 5-0 over your Washington Wild Things. Ricky Rodriguez at third, Dave Popkins at second. Jarrett Miller has his sign. He's set. And the 0-2 pitch. And Yezo takes it high for a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on Jimmy Yezo. Yezo trying to come through. Second on the team with 26 RBIs. Has 2 men in scoring position here with 2 men out. Miller looks in. He's set. And the 1-2 pitch. And Yezo fouls this one away. Count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count. Jimmy Yezo, Cherry Hill, New Jersey native, standing in here against Jarrett Miller. Yezo, the number 6 hitter in this order. Jarrett Miller looks in. Miller's set, has his sign, checks third, and the pitch. And that one way outside. Looked like it slipped out of the hand of Jarrett Miller. And the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes as Miller shaking his head at himself after that pitch. Riley Moore having to dive all the way from the inside corner to make that catch. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. With Jimmy Yezo at the plate. Ricky Rodriguez stands at third. Dave Popkins over at second. Jarrett Miller has his sign. He's set. And the 2-2. And Yezo takes this one for a called strike 3. And that will end the inning. No runs in the inning on 1 hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base. After 5.5, the score, Southern Illinois 5, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute, that keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise, we ensure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the 6th, and the score, Southern Illinois 5, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Last inning, a big inning for the Miners as they scored 3 runs. Aaron Gates flew out to start things, and Shane Kennedy walked, stole second, and moved to third on a wild pitch. There was a runner at third, 1 out. Craig Massey would then walk, and Alex DeLeon came through with a 2 RBI double that scored both Kennedy and Massey and made this a 4-0 game. That would be all for the night's starter, Chase Cunningham. Then Colin Stanley, currently on the mound now, came in to relieve him and gave up a RBI single to Nolan Early before getting Steve Marino to ground into a 5-4-3 double play to end the inning. Due up here in the 6th, Kurt Wirtz Jr., Riley Moore, and Francisco Rosario, 7, 8, and 9, facing off against Colin Stanley. Final line on the starter tonight, Chase Cunningham. Cunningham went 4 1/3, gave up 5 runs, all earned on 6 hits, 6 walks, and no strikeouts. Second straight start where Cunningham has allowed 5 or more runs in 5 or less innings. So Cunningham struggling against Southern Illinois, and Colin Stanley going through his final warm-up toss and leading things off here in the bottom of the 6th for the Southern Illinois Miners will be the left fielder Kurt Wirtz Jr. Jr. so far in the day, 1 for 2, hitting to a 3-6-1 double play in the second and singled in inning number 4. Now stepping in to face the new pitcher, Colin Stanley. And for the Wild Things, you'd think that Colin Stanley would be asked to go a couple innings here, as both their long relievers, Sam Agnew-Whelan and Brian O'Keefe, are going to be starting in this series against Southern Illinois. We are ready to start baseball here in the bottom of the 6th. Kurt Wirtz Jr. going to make his way to the plate. We're actually right now waiting for the home plate umpire, Chris Diekman. I don't know where Diekman went. He went down to the Miners dugout. Now he emerges from the Miners dugout, and we are ready for baseball. Diekman went into that Miners dugout. Now he's back, and we can resume baseball here in the bottom of the 6th. That brings up the left fielder, Kurt Wirtz Jr. As we said, Jr. 1 for 1, singled and walked on the day. Colin Stanley in for his first full inning of relief. Has been pretty good for the Wild Things out of that bullpen in a middle relief role. Has given them innings when they've needed him to. Colin Stanley looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch. And this ball hit deep to right center field. Going back is Dave Popkins to the track, to the wall, and this one's off the top of the wall. Chris Grayson falling out in the outfield trying to field it. Popkins gets it, and it's a double for Kurt Wirtz Jr. A double as Chris Grayson falling out there in the outfield. The ball bounced off of his glove as he was trying to make the carom off the wall. Popkins retrieves it. It's a leadoff double for Kurt Wirtz Jr. And there's a runner at second, nobody out, as the first pitch from Colin Stanley gets driven deep to right center field. And there's a runner at second. That'll bring up the catcher, Riley Moore. Moore so far 1 for 2, hitting to a double play his first time and singled in the 4th inning. Runner at second, nobody out. There's 2 falls on that play. Kurt Wirtz Jr. fell rounding first base, and then Chris Grayson fell trying to retrieve the ball off of the outfield wall. Colin Stanley looking in, has his sign, checks second base, and the pitch. And this one popped up, foul territory off to the right. Yezzo giving it a chase over towards the stands, but he'll watch this one land foul into the seats. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Riley Moore, the catcher for the Southern Illinois Miners, thrusted into the starting duty as starting catcher Tony DeMello went on the 14-day disabled list prior to the first series between these two teams at Consol Energy Park. Kurt Wirtz Jr. stands on second. Bottom of the 6th, 5-0 Southern Illinois leads this one. Colin Stanley checks Wirtz Jr. out there at second, now looks into Fish. Has his sign, he's set. And the 0-1 pitch. After a check to second, here it comes. And this one lined into right field. Dave Popkins giving chase. He'll make the catch for out number 1. Tagging and moving up to third is Kurt Wirtz Jr. So there'll be a runner at third and 1 man out. That'll bring up the shortstop, Francisco Rosario. Rosario so far 0 for 1. Walked in the second and hit into a 4-6-3 double play in the 4th inning. 1 out, bottom of the 6th. Southern Illinois leading 5-0 over your Washington Wild Things. Rosario, the number 9 hitter in this Southern Illinois Miners lineup. They have a runner at third with 1 man out. That's Kurt Wirtz Jr. over there. He doubled the lead this inning off, moved up on the flyout by Riley Moore. Infield in for the Wild Things. Stanley has his sign. He's set. Here's the pitch. And this ball hit the center field. Chris Grayson coming in on it. He's going to make the catch. Tagging is Wirtz Jr. Here's Grayson's throw to the plate, and it is not in time. Kurt Wirtz Jr. gets in there on the sacrifice fly by Francisco Rosario, and the score now, Southern Illinois 6, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. For Rosario, that's his 12th RBI of the year, and it's 6-0 Miners. That'll bring to the plate the center fielder, Aaron Gates. Gates so far in this one 1 for 3, a double and a run scored in the first, grounded out in the second, and flew out in inning number 5. Bottom of the 6th, 6-0 Southern Illinois, leading over your Washington Wild Things. 4th time through the order here for the Southern Illinois Miners. Stanley looking in, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch. And Gates takes this one high for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Aaron Gates out in center field. Colin Stanley's first inning of relief has given up a run. First full inning. He got the last 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. Stanley has his sign and the 1-0. And that one swung on and missed. Count goes even to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count to the Southern Illinois center fielders. Played center field in all 3 games against the Wild Things in the series back at Consol Energy Park. And now out there at center field for this game, the fourth game of the season between these two teams. Colin Stanley has his sign, the pitch, and that one fouled back to the screen. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on Aaron Gates. 2 outs, bottom of the 6th. 1 run in already on the sacrifice fly by Francisco Rosario. Aaron Gates on the year currently has 33 RBIs and a .307 average. Stanley has his sign. Here's the 1-2, and that one's a called strike 3. Aaron Gates strikes out, and that will end the inning. 1 run in the inning on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on base. After 6 innings of play, the score, Southern Illinois 6, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfield playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the 7th, and the score, Southern Illinois 6, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Jarrett Miller back out there for his 7th inning of work. Last time out against the Wild Things went 6 2/3 innings, giving up 4 runs. So far in this one, 6 shutout innings, giving up just 3 hits in this one. The only tick to his record right now is he only has 2 strikeouts on the day through 6 innings of work, and he has walked 4 batters on the day. So he's been a little wild, but he's gotten through it, only giving up 3 hits and throwing the shutout through 6 innings of work. Every Friday night home game at Consol Energy Park is a fireworks night. Come out every Friday night for a baseball game and a spectacular fireworks display. For tickets, go to www.washingtonwildthings.com or call the box office at 866-456-WILD. Stepping in to lead off the top of the 7th for the Wild Things is third baseman Grant Fink. Fink so far 0 for 2. Robbed of a base hit in both at-bats. Francisco Rosario making a nice backhanded play on him his first time up. And then his second time up, a diving catch by Nolan Early. So see if he can finally get in the hit column tonight. Should be 2 for 2, but it's now 0 for 2 as he steps in here in the top of inning number 7. Southern Illinois leading 6-0 over your Wild Things. Jarrett Miller looks in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Fink takes this one high for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on the Wild Things third baseman, Grant Fink. Miller looks in, has his sign, and the 1 ball, no strike pitch. And this one hit the left field and deep. Going back is Wirtz Jr. a couple steps in front of the track, and he'll make the catch for out number 1. 1 up, 1 down for the Wild Things here in the 7th, and that brings up the left fielder, Andrew Heck. Heck so far 1 for 2, one of the team's 3 hits on the day as he grounded out in the 3rd and singled in inning number 5. Jarrett Miller, a good start to this 7th inning as he looks to get through 7 innings here in this one. 6 2/3 his last time out. Miller has his sign. Here's the pitch, and Heck takes this one way inside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count to the 4th-year man on this Wild Things team, Andrew Heck. Wild Things offense has been held quiet today by Jarrett Miller and the Miners. Here's the 1-0, and that one is just inside for a ball as well. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the call. 2-0 the count here on Andrew Heck. 1 out, top of the 7th. Miller has his sign. Here's the 2-0. And Heck takes this one for a strike on the outside corner. 2 balls and 1 strike. 2-1 the count. Andrew Heck trying to find a pitch he can drive here against Jarrett Miller, as all the hits by the Wild Things have been ground balls through holes in the infield. All 3 hits are singles on the day. Here's the pitch. Heck checks his swing. Did he go around? No. This is Andy Dodonis out in the field, and the count goes to 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count here on Andrew Heck. Here's the pitch from Miller, and that one's a called strike. Count goes full to 3-2. Austin Woldrock, the on-deck batter for your Washington Wild Things. 3 hits today, 1 to Ricky Rodriguez, 1 to Chris Grayson, 1 to Andrew Heck, as this one's fouled back to the screen, and the count stays at 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count on Andrew Heck. One man out, top of the 7th. 6-0 Southern Illinois leads over your Washington Wild Things. Jarrett Miller, a 3-2 count here to Andrew Heck. He's set. Here's the 3-2. And that one's outside, ball 4. A walk to Andrew Heck. The 5th walk of the day for Jarrett Miller. And the Wild Things have a runner on base here with one man out. That'll bring to the plate the shortstop, Austin Wobrock. Wobrock so far 0 for 1. Walked in the 3rd and hit into a fielder's choice in inning number 5. Runner at first, one man out for the Wild Things against Jarrett Miller. There is action in the Southern Illinois bullpen, as this could be Jarrett Miller's last inning here as there was action as well in the 6th inning. Miller looks in, has his sign, checks first, and the pitch. And a swing and a miss by Wobrock, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Wobrock. 2 of the team's 3 hits in the win over River City last night drove in one of the team's 3 runs. Jarrett Miller looking in, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch to Wobrock. That one's outside for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count. Andrew Heck over at first. 4 stolen bases on the year, tied for second on the team with right fielder Dave Popkins. Miller looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 1-1. And Wobrock lines this one into left field. That'll be a base hit. Runners now at first and second here with one man out. Wild Things have some life here in the top of the 7th, and that'll bring to the plate Jamadrick Magruder. Magruder so far 0 for 3. Grounded out in the 1st, grounded out in the 3rd, and flew out in inning number 5. Top of the 7th, one man out. Southern Illinois 6, and your Washington Wild Things nothing here from Rent One Park. Wild Things trying to get on the board here in the top of the 7th. Still no action in the Wild Things bullpen, so Colin Stanley will come out for his 2nd inning of relief as he relieved Chase Cunningham. Cunningham only went 4 1/3 in this one, giving up five runs all earned. Miller has his sign. He's set, checks second, and the pitch to Magruder. And that one's inside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count. Magruder's just seen 3 pitches prior to that one as he grounded out twice and flew out on all 1 pitch in his first 3 at-bats. Miller looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 1-0. And Magruder hits this one down the left field line and foul. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count. Magruder drove in the first run for the Wild Things in last night's game with an RBI single in the 6th inning. Scored Wobrock from second after the Wild Things got their first hit of the night. 6-0 Southern Illinois leads. Jarrett Miller looks in. Miller has his sign. He's set. Checks Heck at second. And the pitch. And Magruder takes this one inside for a ball as well. And the count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 here on Jamadrick Magruder, reaching 10:30 Eastern Time. 9:30 out here at Marion, Illinois in Southern Illinois' Rent One Park. Miller has his sign, check second, the pitch. And Magruder pops this one up. Back behind second base, Rosario calling for it. And he will make the catch. That's out number 2. 2 away for the Wild Things here in the top of the 7th, and that brings up the designated hitter, Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez so far 1 for 2, flew out in the 1st, walked in the 4th, and singled in inning number 6. 2 outs, runners at 1st and 2nd. Now Mike Pinto coming out of the dugout for the Miners, and we're going to have a pitching change. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more Washington Wild Things baseball here on the MSA Sports Network.
Enjoy shopping and dining at one of Ohio Valley Mall's 100 merchants, including Boscov's, MC Sports, Hibbett Sports, Pat Catan's, Christopher & Banks, Men's Warehouse, and many more. Check out the new Buckle Store. And coming soon, Buffalo Wild Wings. If the little ones need a break, head to the Kids Zone, sponsored by Ohio Valley Medical Center and East Ohio Regional Hospital, your community hospitals.
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School. Lead, don't follow.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, currently in the top of the 7th, and the Washington Wild Things are down 6-0 to the Southern Illinois Miners. Pitching change for the Miners is now coming on to work is right-handed pitcher Kyle Tinius. Tinius enters tonight with a record of 2-0, a 2.87 ERA, appearing in his 19th game, has made no starts in the season, 15 2/3 innings of work, gave up 5 runs, all earned on 16 hits, 7 strikeouts, and 7 walks. So Kyle Tinius into the game, the second pitcher used by the Southern Illinois Miners. Book not yet closed on Jarrett Miller, but Miller so far has gone 6 2/3, gave up 4 hits, no runs to this point on 4 walks, 2 strikeouts. However, he is responsible for both Andrew Heck and Austin Wobrock on base. The first man up to face Kyle Tinius is going to be the designated hitter, Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez on the day so far is 1 for 2, flew out in the first, walked in the fourth, and singled in inning number 6. He'll step in to be the first man to face Kyle Tinius with his team down 6-0. And Tinius trying to get out of this 7th inning for Jarrett Miller. Miller goes 6 2/3 in both starts against the Wild Things this year. Gave up 4 runs in his last start. So far, no runs here through 6 2/3 for him tonight. Is responsible, however, for Andrew Heck and Austin Wobrock on base. Ricky Rodriguez stepping in. Heck takes his lead from second. Wobrock takes his lead from first. Tinius looks in. Has his sign. He's set. Checks second. And the pitch. And Rodriguez takes this one high for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count. Kyle Tinius comes in these situations a lot. 15 2/3 innings in only 18 games pitched this year. He's only given up 5 runs. And not a big strikeout guy. 7 strikeouts, 7 walks in those 15 innings of work. Tinius has his sign. He's set in the 1-0. And Rodriguez takes this one low in the dirt. Blocked by Riley Moore. And the count swells to 2 balls and no strikes on Rodriguez. 2-0 the count. Andrew Heck on second base. He walked with 1 out, and then Austin Wobrock singled. Jamadric Magruder popped out, and now we're here with first and second and 2 men out here in the top of the 7th. Tinius has his sign, checks second, and the 2-0. And that one's high, ball 3. So Tinius comes out of the bullpen and not able to hit the strike zone early on against Ricky Rodriguez. 3-0 the count here with 2 men out in this top of the 7th inning. Kyle Tinius looks into Riley Moore. Tinius has his sign. He's set. Checks Heck at second. And the pitch. And Rodriguez takes it high, ball 4. A 4-pitch walk out of the bullpen for Kyle Tinius. And now the bases are loaded with Wild Things here with 2 men out. Heck moving up to third. Wobrock up to second. And Ricky Rodriguez at first. That'll bring to the plate the center fielder, Chris Grayson. Grayson so far on the day is 1 for 3. Flew out in the first, singled in the fourth, and flew out in inning number 6. Trying to drive in the first run of the day for these Washington Wild Things. Has 6 RBIs on the year in his short Wild Things career. Bases full of Wild Things. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Tinius has his sign. He's set. And the pitch. And Grayson takes this one in the zone at the letters for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on the Wild Things center fielder. Andrew Heck at third. Austin Wobrock at second. Ricky Rodriguez at first. Tinius looks in to Riley Moore. Going through the signs. Has one he likes. He's set. Checks second. The pitch. And Grayson, a loop liner to short. Rosario under it, and he will make the catch for out number 3. No runs in the inning for the Wild Things on just 1 hit, no errors, and they leave the bases loaded. After 6.5 the score, Southern Illinois 6, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. We're going to take it down to the field now for Take Me Out to the Ball Game. You're listening to Washington Wild Things Baseball on the MSA Sports Network.
All right, fans, I'm here with the Grinch, Jack Frost, and Harry Carey. And if you guys would, everybody go ahead and stand up as we sing Take Me Out to the Ball Game with Harry Carey.
A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I ever get back. Well, it's root for the Miners. If they don't win, it's a shame. Score is 1, 2, 3 strikes.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get a sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the 7th, and the score, Southern Illinois 6, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Colin Stanley back in there for his second full inning of relief, gave up a run in the bottom half of the 6th. Kurt Wirtz Jr. doubled to start things, then Riley Moore flew out, and Francisco Rosario came through with a sacrifice fly. Stanley would then strike out Aaron Gates to end the inning. Due up here in the 7th to face him, Shane Kennedy, Craig Massey, and Alex DeLeon, 2, 3, and 4, facing off against Colin Stanley. Making his way to the plate is Shane Kennedy. Kennedy so far in the day, 1 for 1, doubled in his first at-bat and scored a run, and has walked in each of his last 2 at-bats, stolen 2 bases as well. Colin Stanley, second full inning of work, 1 2/3 innings of work so far, allowing 1 run on 2 hits and striking out a batter. Stanley set, here's the pitch. And this one's outside for a ball, 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count to Shane Kennedy, no action in the Wild Things bullpen. A couple of guys stirring out there, but right now this is Colin Stanley's game. Stanley looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 1-0. And that one's on the outside corner for a strike. Count goes even at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count here on the Miners' designated hitter, Shane Kennedy. Only his second appearance against the Wild Things this season, and cleared once in the 3-game series at Consol Energy Park, and now in here at DH here for this game tonight. Here's the 1-1, and that one's just high for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. Wild Things have been pitching around Kennedy, walked him twice after his RBI double back in inning number 1. 6-0 Miners lead here in the bottom of the 7th. Colin Stanley looks in, has his sign, he's set. And the 2-1 pitch. And that one swung on and missed. A big swing and a miss there from Kennedy, and the count goes to 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. Colin Stanley, middle reliever, in for the Wild Things. Stanley on the year, 20 strikeouts and just 9 walks in his 25 1/3 innings, so has been striking out batters at a very good clip at 3.19 ERA, down from up in the 4s where it was a couple of months ago. The 2-2 and a swing and a miss made Kennedy look bad there, and that is out number 1. 1 up, 1 down for the Miners here in the bottom of the 7th, and that brings to the plate the second baseman Craig Massey. Massey so far 0 for 1, grounded out in the 1st, walked in the 3rd, walked and scored in inning number 5. 6-0 Miners lead here in the bottom of the 7th, 1 out from Rent One Park in Marion, Illinois, home of these Southern Illinois Miners. Miners currently perfect after the All-Star break, 5-0 to this point. Stanley has his sign, here's the pitch. And that one taken high for a ball by Massey, 1 ball and no strikes. 1-0 the count here on the Southern Illinois second baseman, leads the team with his .327 average coming into today. Out there at second base for the Southern Illinois Miners. Stanley has his sign, he's set, and the pitch on the way. And this one hit towards center field. Chris Grayson going back to the track, and he will make the catch on the track for out number 2. So 2 up and 2 down for Southern Illinois as Colin Stanley looks for the first 1-2-3 inning on the night. Alex DeLeon coming to the plate. DeLeon so far 1 for 2. Sacrifice fly in the 1st, flew out in the 3rd, and a 2 RBI double in inning number 5. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th. 6-0 Southern Illinois leading, and Colin Stanley looking for the first 1-2-3 inning of the night. You're listening to the Washington Wild Things baseball here on the MSA Sports Network. I'm Zach Ziegler from Rent One Park in Marion, Illinois. Stanley has his sign, the pitch, and that one's on the outside corner for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. 2 strikeouts on the night for Colin Stanley. This in his second full inning of work. If he can get through this batter, he will have gone 2 2/3 in this game. Stanley has his sign, he's set, and the 0-1. And that one's outside for a ball. Count goes even at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count here on Alex DeLeon. DeLeon, as we said, caught the last 2 games for the Southern Illinois Miners. Backup catcher to the starter, Riley Moore. Stanley looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 1-1. And that one's high for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count on Alex DeLeon. 2 men out here in the bottom of the 7th. Stanley looking for the first 1-2-3 inning on the day for the Wild Things. There is action in the Wild Things bullpen. Now with Stanley going through his 2nd inning of work. Stanley looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 2-1. And that one's high and inside for ball 3. 3 balls and a strike. The count here on Alex DeLeon. 6-0 Miners lead here in the bottom of inning number 7 from Rent One Park. Had a 20-minute delay between the top of the 5th and the bottom of the 5th due to the fact that the power went out here at Rent One Park. It took them 20 minutes to get the stadium lights back on, so we had a little bit of a delay, and that's what's caused the slowdown of this game. Stanley has his sign, the 3-1, and that one's high, ball 4. So a 2-out walk to Alex DeLeon. Stanley will not get the first 1-2-3 inning in this game. There's 2 outs and a runner at first, and that'll bring up the right fielder, Nolan Early. Early so far, 2 for 3. Single in the first, grounded out in the 3rd, and hit an RBI single in inning number 5. Runner at first, 2 men out. Stanley trying to get through this 7th inning. Has allowed 2 hits to this point, allowed 1 run. Following Chase Cunningham's 4 1/3, where Cunningham gave up 5 runs. Southern Illinois leading this one 6-0. Nolan Early coming to the plate. Early out in right field tonight. Has driven in one of his team's 6 runs this evening. Colin Stanley out there from the bullpen. His 2nd full inning of work. Has 1 save on the year as he pitched the final 3 innings of a game that the Wild Things won and picked up the save. Stanley set. Here's the pitch to Early. And this ball popped up. Foul territory off to the left. Gets back into the seats. Foul. So the count goes to 0-1 here on Nolan Early. No balls and a strike. 2 men out. Bottom of the 7th. 6-0 Southern Illinois leads. And Colin Stanley is clearly frustrated with how long it's taken them to get him a new baseball. Stanley barking at the home plate umpire as there have been some confusion with the bat boys here in Southern Illinois as the home plate umpire not getting the ball as fast as he wanted to, and in turn Colin Stanley not getting them as fast as he wants them. Stanley looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 0-1. And this ball fouled back to the screen. Count goes to 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes here on Nolan Early. Early the right fielder. Colin Stanley trying to finish his 2nd full inning of work. Has gone 2 1/3 to this point. He got the last 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th and then a full inning in the 6th. Got the first 2 men out here in the 7th before walking Alex DeLeon. Stanley looks in. Checks first, has his sign, he's set. And the 0-2 pitch. And this one breaks his bat, but grounded right in front of the mound. Stanley has it, fires on to first, and the throw is too high. It pulls Yezzo off the bag. It's an error on Colin Stanley, E1, and that allows another man to reach with 2 outs. Runners at first and 2nd for the Southern Illinois Miners, and 2 outs, and that brings to the plate the 3rd baseman, Steve Marino. Marino so far 0 for 3. Grounded out in the 1st, popped out in the 3rd, and hit into a 5-4-3 double play in inning number 5. 2 outs, bottom of the 7th, 6-0. Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Marino coming to the plate. Alex DeLeon, the runner at 2nd. Nolan Early, the runner at 1st on the throwing error by Stanley. As now Stanley again trying to get through this 7th inning. Stanley has his sign, checks 2nd, and the pitch. And this one grounded foul. Count goes to no balls and a strike to Marino. 0-1 the count. Marino, the right-handed batter, versus Colin Stanley, the right-handed pitcher. Colin Stanley appearing in game number 20 on the season, which puts him 2nd on the Wild Things team in appearances. Stanley looks in, has his sign, checks 2nd, and the 0-1. And this one hit to center field. Chris Grayson going over, and he will make the running catch, and that is out number 3. No runs in the inning, no hits, 1 error, and 2 men left on base. After 7 innings of play, the score, Southern Illinois 6, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
When looking to replace your athletic field, choose Pro Grass, first in turf. ProGrass has installed over 500 fields in the U.S. Getting the best artificial turf for your field depends upon both the product and the partner you choose. That's why architects, athletic directors, and players choose the ProGrass Performance System. ProGrass maintains an active presence in the field turf industry as members of the Sports Turf Management Association and the American Sports Builder Association, and is proud to be recognized as a FIFA preferred manufacturer. Call ProGrass today at 866-270-6003 or visit them on the web at www.progressturf.com. ProGrass, first in turf.
Your Washington Wild Things return home July 26th through the 28th to start a 3-game series with the Normal Corn Belters. Action kicks off on Tuesday, July 26th for the first home game here at Sol Energy Park on the season. 7:05 first pitch. Come out and support Chris Grayson, Jamadrick Magruder, Ashton Parrott, and the rest of your Washington Wild Things. The series will continue Wednesday, July 27th at 7:05 for Bucket Hat Night. For $15, you get a bucket hat and a reserve seat ticket. The series will conclude on Thursday, July 28th. And for Thirsty Thursday, all beer and soda here at the park is just $1. Come out and support your Wild Things all season long. For tickets, go to www.washingtonwildthings.com or call the box office at 866-456-WILD. Washington Wild Things Baseball, let's get wild. We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things Baseball. New pitcher in this game for the Southern Illinois Miners, as it'll be right-hander Chris DeBoo. DeBoo enters this one with no record, 3 saves on the year, a 3.00 ERA, appearing in his 21st game, has thrown 18 innings of work, giving up 6 runs, all earned on 19 hits, 11 strikeouts, and 6 walks on the season. So Chris DeBoo into the game for the Southern Illinois Miners. The final line on Jarrett Miller. Miller went officially 6 2/3, gave up no runs, no earned on 4 hits, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Kyle Tinius relieved him, a third of an inning, no runs for him, no hits, a walk, and no strikeouts. Due up here in the 8th for your Wild Things, Dave Popkins, Zach Fish, and Jimmy Yezzo, 4, 5, and 6 for the Wild Things. Popkins so far on the day 0 for 2 with a walk. DeBoo has his sign. He said, here's the pitch, and Popkins takes this one outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Want to know the count on the cleanup man for the Washington Wild Things? DeBoo, the right-hander, saw him in all 3 games in the first series against the Wild Things and pitched very well. The 1-0 swung on a miss by Popkins, and the count goes even to 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, and nobody out. Top of the 8th, 6-0. Southern Illinois leads over your Washington Wild Things. Wild Things trying to fight back here in the 8th and 9th innings. DeBoo has his sign, the 1-1. And that one's high and outside for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count here on Dave Popkins. Nobody out. Top of the 8th. 6-0 Southern Illinois leading. DeBoo has his sign, the 2-1. And that one swung on a miss. Count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Popkins leads the team in both walks and strikeouts on the season. Talking to him earlier in the year, he likes to work deep into counts and look for a pitch he can drive. That's why he walks and strikes out as much as he does. Here's the 2-2. And this ball popped foul back into the seats, so the count will remain even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Looking to come through here. His 8 home runs are tied for first on this team, and his 27 RBIs lead the club. He led the team in home runs and RBIs a year ago with 20 and 46. DeBoo has his sign. Here's the 2-2. And that one's just outside for a ball. Count goes full to Popkins. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count, lined out to shortstop his first at-bat, then was robbed on a very nice double play by Craig Massey his second time up before walking his last time. Popkins drives this one down the right field line. It's hooking, and it'll go foul. So the count will remain full at 3-2. Zach Fish, the on-deck batter for your Washington Wild Things. Popkins trying to get on base to get something started here in this one. Chris DeBoo looks into Riley Moore. DeBoo has his sign. He's set. And the pitch. And a swing and a miss. Popkins strikes out, and that's the first out here in the top of the 8th. That brings to the plate catcher Zach Fish. Fish so far 0 for 2, grounded out in the 2nd, walked in the 4th, and grounded out in inning number 6. 1 out, top of the 8th, 6-0 Southern Illinois leads. Zach Fish in his Washington Wild Things debut behind the plate, backing up Kyle Pollock. Pollock getting his first night off in over 2.5 weeks. As Alex McKeon went on the 60-day DL with a hand injury, Pollock has had to catch for 2.5 weeks straight. And Fish takes his first pitch on the outside corner, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Fish. Fish came from the Chicago White Sox organization, played 3 years in that organization, hitting a combined .234, 18 home runs, and 74 RBIs. The pitch, and that one's high for a ball. Count goes even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike here on Zach Fish. Joined the Wild Things prior to Wednesday's doubleheader, was not made available until Thursday night's game. Here's the 1-1, and Fish takes this one for a called strike on the outside corner, 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 man out, top of the 8th, just 4 hits on the day for the Wild Things. As Zach Fish trying to pick up the 5th hit of the day. DeBoo has his sign, the 1-2, and that one's in the dirt and outside. Count goes even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count. Chris DeBoo will more than likely pitch the 8th and 9th inning. No action in that Southern Illinois bullpen, and no save situation on the line. There is action in the Washington Wild Things bullpen as well. DeBoo has his sign, a 2-2, and this ball grounded to short. Rosario handles it on a hop. He'll throw on to first. It's in the dirt, but picked over there by De Leon, and that's in time for out number 2. 4-3 on the putout, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo so far 0 for 3. Flew out in the 2nd, struck out in the 4th, and struck out in inning number 6. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. 6-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Left-handed batter Jimmy Yezzo at the plate facing the right-handed pitcher Chris DeBoo. DeBoo has his sign. He's set, and the pitch. And Yezzo takes this one low and inside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on the Wild Things first baseman. Trying to get on base with 2 outs and start something for the Wild Things. DeBoo has his sign. He's set, and the 1-0. That one's outside for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count here on Jimmy Yezzo. Just reaching 11 o'clock Eastern Time. I'd like to thank you for staying with us here on the MSA Sports Network. DeBoo has his sign, and this next pitch is outside for a ball. 3 balls and no strikes. You're listening to the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. We got you covered all 2016 season tonight from Rent One Park in Marion, Illinois for Game 1 of this 3-game series. DeBoo setting the pitch, and that one's on the outside corner for a strike. So 3 balls and a strike. The count now to Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo trying to work his way on. Chris DeBoo got the first 2 Wild Things he's faced out. He has his sign, the 3-1, and that one swung on and missed by Yezzo. Count goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes. Big hack there by Jimmy Yezzo, coming up empty. Yezzo has 8 home runs, currently tied for the team lead with Dave Popkins. DeBoo has his sign, the 3-2. And this ball popped up, on the infield. Alex De Leon coming in, and he will call everyone off, and he drops the ball. He lost it in the lights, overran the ball a little bit, and it ends up falling behind him. That'll be a base hit for Jimmy Yezzo, the 5th hit of the day for the Washington Wild Things. He's on with 2 men out, and that'll bring up the third baseman, Grant Fink. Fink so far 0 for 3, grounded out in the 3rd, flew out in the 5th, and flew out in inning number 7. 5th hit of the day, first hit for Jimmy Yezzo. As that ball falling in the infield, Alex De Leon was giving chase, but De Leon actually overran that ball, and it ended up landing behind him on the first base bag. So runner at first, 2 men out. DeBoo looking into Moore, has his sign, he's set. And the pitch to Fink. And Fink takes this one inside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count. That's the 5th hit of the day for the Washington Wild Things. All 5 hits coming from 5 different players. DeBoo has his sign. He's set in the 1-0. And that one swung on a miss by Fink, and the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count. Grant Fink at the plate, playing third base tonight, getting more regular playing time as he was on the bench earlier in the season, now getting some time out and left and also at third base. DeBoo has his sign, the 1-1, and that one's a called strike on the outside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on Grant Fink. 2 men out. Runner at first is Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo takes his lead. 2 steals for Yezzo on the year. DeBoo has his sign, the 1-2, and that one's a called strike 3. Grant Fink strikes out, and that will end the inning. No runs in the inning on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. After 7.5, the score, Southern Illinois 6, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance. exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute, that keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise. We ensure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the 8th, and the score, Southern Illinois leads this one 6-0. Pitching change for your Washington Wild Things is into this one is Ashton Parrott. Parrott enters this one with no record, a 21.60 ERA, has only appeared in one game for the Washington Wild Things, went 1 2/3 innings, gave up 4 runs, all earned on 3 hits, 2 walks, and 1 strikeout on the season for the Wild Things. Was acquired from the Traverse City Beach Bums, and with Traverse City earlier in this season, he appeared in 13 games, had a record of 0-1, a 4.41 ERA through 16 1/3 innings of work for them, giving up 9 runs, 8 earned on 13 hits, 11 strikeouts, and 8 walks for Traverse City, coming in for his second appearance here with the Washington Wild Things. For the Wild Things last inning, Dave Popkins struck out to lead things off, then Zach Fish grounded out. Jimmy Yezzo would single, and Grant Fink would strike out to end the top of the 8th, actually. And now the bottom of the 8th, the last inning for the Southern Illinois Miners. Shane Kennedy struck out to start things, then Craig Massey flew out. Alex DeLeon walked, Nolan Early reached on an error, and Steve Marino flew out to end that inning. Final line on the reliever, Colin Stanley, went 2 2/3, gave up a run. It was earned on 2 hits, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Ashton Parrott in the game in the bottom of the 8th. First men due up to face him here in this bottom of the 8th. Bottom of the order, Kurt Wirtz Jr., Riley Moore, and Francisco Rosario, 7, 8, and 9, facing off against Ashton Parrott. Parrott trying to make this outing a little better than his Wild Things debut. Parrott has his sign. He's set. Here's the pitch. And that one is just off the plate for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Kurt Wirtz Jr. Jr. today 2 for 2, singled in the 2nd, walked in the 4th, and doubled and scored a run in the 6th. The Parrott set in the 1-0, and that one's outside for a ball. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count on Kurt Wirtz Jr. playing in his 3rd game for the Southern Illinois Miners. Out there in left field, been swinging the bat well in his early Miners career. Parrott has his sign. Here's the 2-0. And that one's outside as well. 3 straight balls from Parrott out of the bullpen. And the count goes to 3 balls and no strikes here on Wirtz Jr. Not what you wanted if you're Ashton Parrott. Just want to pound the strike zone and get your team to the bat racks in the 9th inning, down 6-0. Parrott has his sign. He's set. And the 3-0. And that one's high ball 4. 4-pitch walk, and Kurt Wirtz Jr. on base to lead off this bottom of the 8th against Ashton Parrott. Zach Fish going out to talk to Parrott. Now coming to the plate, catcher Riley Moore. Moore so far 1 for 3, hitting a 3-6-1 double play in the 2nd, singled in the 4th, and flew out in inning number 6. The meeting on the mound's over. Ashton Parrott trying to make this a clean 8th inning with his team down 6-0. Riley Moore at the plate. Runner at first, Kurt Wirtz Jr. reached base for the 4th time today, has 2 hits and 2 walks on the day. Ashton Parrott looking in. Kurt Wirtz Jr. stands on first. Parrott has his sign. He's set, and the pitch. And that one is outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. So 5 straight balls for Ashton Parrott out of the bullpen here, facing Riley Moore. Runner at first, Kurt Wirtz Jr., a 4-pitch walk to start this inning. Parrott has his sign, checks first, and the 1-0. And that one is just off the plate as well and low. Count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count. Ashton Parrott, his 2nd appearance for the Washington Wild Things. First one didn't go so well, went 1 2/3, gave up 4 runs. That was against the Southern Illinois Miners, appearing again against the Miners. Parrott has his sign, the 2-0. And that one is low as well, so ball 3. 7 straight balls out of the bullpen for Ashton Parrott, and right now working himself into trouble. 3-0 the count here to Riley Moore. A 4-pitch walk to Kurt Wirtz Jr. to start this inning for the right-hander Ashton Parrott. Parrott did play in the Texas Rangers organization for a year in 2015 at a 6.75 ERA with the Rangers organization. The pitch, and that one's in there for a strike. Count goes to 3-1. 3 balls and a strike here on Riley Moore. Played 1 year for the Texas Rangers organization, then in 2016 picked up by the Traverse City Beach Bums, and now currently pitching for the Wild Things. His total on the year, 6 ERA, and he's 0-1. The pitch, and that one's inside, ball 4. Second walk of the day for Ashton Parrott, so 2 walks to start this bottom of the 8th inning, have runners at first and second with nobody out, and that brings up the shortstop, Francisco Rosario. Rosario on the day so far, 0-for-1. Walked in the second, hit into a 4-6-3 double play in the 4th, and hit a sacrifice fly in inning number 6. Bottom of the 8th, Miners lead this one 6-0 over your Washington Wild Things. Ashton Parrott on the hill. He has walked the first 2 men he's faced here in the bottom of the 8th. Parrott looks in to Zach Fish. Parrott has his sign. He's set. And the pitch coming. And that one's in there for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Francisco Rosario. Parrott, the first man he's got ahead of today in this outing, looking for a clean 8th inning, trying to get his team to the bat racks in the top of the 9th. Parrott looking in, has his sign, he's set, and the 0-1. And that one swung on a miss, no balls and 2 strikes. There's Parrott firing in the strike zone. Came in through 7 straight balls to start his outing, walked the first 2 batters, and now has Rosario down, no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count. Parrott looks in to Zach Fish. Has his sign. He's set. Check Wirtz Jr. at second, and the pitch coming. And this one grounded to third. Fink has it to second. No play at second. Now they'll throw to first. And they just did get Francisco Rosario at first base. Fink hesitated for a second. Almost didn't get any outs on the play. But he does get the out at first. Wirtz Jr. moving up to third. Moore moving up to second. Now there are runners at second and third. 1 man out. Aaron Gates is stepping in. Gates so far 1 for 4. Doubled and scored a run in the first. Grounded out in the second. Flew out in the 5th. And struck out in inning number 6. 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th. 6-0. Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Kurt Wirtz Jr. stands at third. And Riley Moore at second. Parrott looking into Zach Fish. Has his sign. He's set. Checks third. And the pitch on the way. And that one's way outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Aaron Gates. Gates out in center field for the 4th game this season against the Wild Things. Started all 3 games in Consol in center field. Now in center field here tonight. Parrott has his sign. He's set. Checks third. And the 1-0. And that one's on the outside corner this time for a strike. Count goes even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wild Things pitchers have not really had a good night here against Southern Illinois. 5 runs given up by Chase Cunningham in 4 1/3. 1 run given up by Stanley in 2 1/3. And Parrott in trouble here in the 8th. Parrott has his sign. He's set. And the 1-1. And that one's in the dirt, and it gets by Zach Fish. In comes Kurt Wirtz Jr. to score. So it is now 7-0 Southern Illinois. Wirtz Jr. scoring via the wild pitch. Another run on the board for Southern Illinois. And runner at third now with 1 man out. As scoring is Kurt Wirtz Jr. Moving up to third is Riley Moore on that wild pitch. 7-0 Southern Illinois Miners. 1 out, runner at third. And Aaron Gates at the plate. Infield in for the Washington Wild Things. As Ashton Parrott's given up a run here in the bottom of the 8th. Still trying to get out of this 8th inning. Parrott looks in. Has his sign. He's set. Checks the runner at third and the 2-1. And that one's high for a ball. 3 balls and a strike here on Aaron Gates. 3-1 the count. Infield in for the Wild Things. Ashton Parrott walked the first 2 men he faced. Then got a ground out to Grant Fink to get the first out of the inning. And now 3-1 the count here to Aaron Gates. Ashton Parrott looks in. Has his sign. He's set. Checks third and the 3-1. And that's outside ball 4. The 3rd walk of the outing for Ashton Parrott. Now there are runners at first and third with 1 man out, and that'll bring to the plate the designated hitter, Shane Kennedy. Zach Fish going to go out and talk to Ashton Parrott as he has first and third, 1 man outs, walked 3 men in this inning. A run has come in the inning, not courtesy of a hit, as Parrott walked Kurt Wirtz Jr. to start things, then walked Riley Moore. A ground out by Francisco Rosario moved the runners to second and third, and then Aaron Gates just walked. He is on first base. Third walk of the inning for Parrott, and Shane Kennedy coming to the plate. Kennedy so far 1 for 2, RBI double in the first, walked in the third, walked in the fifth, and struck out in inning number 7. Ashton Parrott looking in. Would love a ground ball here. Parrott has his sign. He's set. Checks third. And the pitch. And Kennedy takes this one for a strike at the knees. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on the designated hitter for the Southern Illinois Miners. Shane Kennedy standing in there at 6'3", 210 from Orlando, Florida. Parrott has his sign. He's set. And the 0-1. And Kennedy takes this one just high for a ball. Count goes even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike here on the DH for Southern Illinois. Runner at third is, Riley Moore. Runner at first, Aaron Gates. Parrott has his sign. He's set, and the 1-1. And this ball hit towards left center field and deep. Going after it is Grayson, and he's not going to make the catch, and it'll bounce over the wall for a ground rule double. Another run will come in, an RBI double for Shane Kennedy, and the score now 8-0 Southern Illinois over your Washington Wild Things. They have scored 2 insurance runs here in this inning off Ashton Parrott, and now Shane Kennedy coming up limp. Is Mike Pinto going to go out and check on him along with the training staff? Came up limp around first base. Looks like he's walking fine. I think they're just going to bring in a pinch runner for him, or no, they're not. They're just going to talk to him here. Mike Pinto and the training staff out there talking to Shane Kennedy. A ground rule double, the deepest part of the yard. It's 419 out there to left center field. That ball was absolutely crushed by Shane Kennedy. Bounced on the warning track and went over the wall. 8-0 Southern Illinois leads here in the bottom of the 8th. Ashton Parrott's given up 2 runs here in this inning. And there are runners at second and third with still only 1 man out. And still no action in the Wild Things bullpen as manager Greg Langben needs Parrott to finish this inning. Stepping up now is second baseman Craig Massey. Massey so far on the day 0 for 2. Grounded out in the first, walked in the third, walked in the fifth, and flew out in inning number 7. 1 man out here in the bottom of the 8th. 8-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Parrott has his sign. He's set in the pitch. And that one's low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Craig Massey out there at second base for the Southern Illinois Miners. Ashton Parrott in his second appearance for the Washington Wild Things, not going very well. Neither did his first appearance. Parrott looks in, has his sign, checks third, and the 1-0. And that one's outside, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes, only 1 out in this inning as Rosario's ground out is the only out to this point. 8-0 Southern Illinois Miners lead this one. Ashton Parrott looks in. Parrott has his sign. He's set, checks third, and the 2-0. And that one's in the dirt, ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes here to Craig Massey. As Ashton Parrott not able to find the strike zone here in this one in the bottom of the 8th. 2 runs in already in the inning. 1 via a wild pitch, 1 via the RBI double by Shane Kennedy. Parrott looks in. Has his sign, he's set, and the 3 ball, no strike pitch. And that one's in there for a strike at the knees, 3-1. 3 balls and 1 strike here on Craig Massey. Ashton Parrott, the right-handed pitcher. On the mound, first Massey, the left-handed batter. Runner at third base is Aaron Gates. Runner at second, Shane Kennedy. Parrott looks in. Has his sign, the pitch. And that one's low, ball 4. The 4th walk of the inning for Ashton Parrott. And the bases are now full of Miners here with 1 out. And that'll bring up the first baseman, Alex De Leon. De Leon so far on the day is 2 for 3. Sac fly in the first, fly out in the third, 2 RBI double in the 5th, and a walk in inning number 7. Bases full of Miners here, 1 man out. And Ashton Parrott, this is his inning. No action in the Wild Things bullpen. Manager Greg Langben going to see if Parrott can get out of it. De Leon coming to the plate. De Leon so far 1 for 2, not 2 for 3. That was a walk, a sac fly, a 2 RBI double, and a fly out so far in this one. Ashton Parrott looks in. Parrott has his sign. He's set. Checks the runner at third. Here's the pitch. De Leon fouls it back. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on De Leon. Aaron Gates, the runner at third. Shane Kennedy at second. And Craig Massey over there at first base. 8-0. Southern Illinois leading this one. Tomorrow, Game 2 of this 3-game series can be heard at 7:05 Eastern Time first pitch. 6:05 here in the Central Time Zone. Sam Agnew-Whelan on the mound for your Wild Things, facing off against Brooks Trujillo. Ashton Parrott looks in. Parrott looking into Zach Fish, has his sign, he's set. And the 0-1. And this one's in the dirt, ball one. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ashton Parrott was picked in the 24th round of the 2015 MLB June Amateur Draft by the Texas Rangers, was originally selected by the Atlanta Braves in the 17th round of the 2014 MLB June Amateur Draft, but decided to forego that and go to his senior season. And then he was drafted in the 24th round, lasted 1 season in the Rangers organization, and now here with the Washington Wild Things. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here on Alex De Leon. Only 1 out in this inning, bases full of Miners. Parrott looking in, has his sign, he's set, checks third, and he'll step off. He wants to go through the signs again. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Parrott looking in. Has his sign from Fish. He's set, and the 1-1. And that one's outside in the dirt, blocked by Fish. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count. 4 walks in this inning for Ashton Parrott, as he walked Kurt Wirtz Jr. to start things, then walked Riley Moore. Then a ground out by Rosario moved runners to second and third. Aaron Gates would walk. A wild pitch would allow Kurt Wirtz Jr. to come in. An RBI double by Shane Kennedy scored the second run, and then walked Craig Massey. Currently 2-1 the count here to De Leon. Parrott looking in. Has his sign, he's set. Checks third, and the 2-1. And this one swung on and fouled away. Actually hit Alex De Leon. He swung at the pitch, and it hit him in the shoulder. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count. Bases full of Southern Illinois Miners. 2-2 here on Alex De Leon. De Leon on the season currently has 45 RBIs, drove in 2 runs earlier. Actually 46, drove in 3 runs in this ball game. Currently up with the bases loaded. Parrott shakes off the first sign, now has one he likes, he's set. Checks third and the 2-2. And a swing and a ground ball to short. Wobrock the second for 1 on to first, and it is in time for the double play. The inning is over. 6-4-3. The Miners get 2 runs in the inning on 1 hit, no errors, and they leave the bases loaded. After 8 innings of play, the score, Southern Illinois 8, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
Enjoy shopping and dining at one of Ohio Valley Mall's 100 merchants, including Boscov's, MC Sports, Hibbett Sports, Pat Catan's, Christopher & Banks, Men's Warehouse, and many more. Check out the new Buckle Store. And coming soon, Buffalo Wild Wings. If the little ones need a break, head to the Kids Zone, sponsored by Ohio Valley Medical Center and East Ohio Regional Hospital, your community hospitals.
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School. Lead, don't follow.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the 9th, and the score, Southern Illinois 8, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Last inning for your Washington Wild Things, Dave Popkins would strike out, Zach Fish would ground out, Jimmy Yeza would single, and Grant Fink struck out to end the inning. Pitching change for the Southern Illinois Miners is coming into this game is number 39, Zach Cooper. Cooper on the season so far with the Miners is 0-1, 2 saves on the year at 14.21 ERA. As appearing in his 11th game, has thrown 6 1/3 innings of work, giving up 10 runs, all earned on 11 hits, 11 walks, and 6 strikeouts on the year. So Zach Cooper into the game, relieving Chris DeBoo. DeBoo, his final line, went an inning, did not give up a run on just 1 hit, did not walk a man, and struck out 2 batters. The first men due up here to face Cooper in the 9th. Andrew Heck, Austin Wobrock, and Jamadrick Magruder, 8, 9, and 1, facing off against Zach Cooper. Cooper pitched in 2 of the 3 games against the Washington Wild Things the first series and struggled against the Wild Things, walking a lot of batters, gave up 1 run in his 2 outings against the Wild Things. Andrew Heck stepping in to lead things off here in the top of inning number 9. Andrew Heck on the day so far, 1 for 2, ground out single and a walk to this point. Cooper has his sign. Here's the pitch, and that one's high for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Andrew Heck. Cooper struggled with control this season. 11 walks in 10 appearances in 6 1/3 innings. 6 strikeouts, though, so averaging a strikeout an inning. This next pitch is high for ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count here on Andrew Heck. Zach Cooper in for the top of the 9th. Southern Illinois leads this one 8-0 over your Washington Wild Things. Wild Things need 8 to tie, 9 to take the lead here in the top of the 9th against Zach Cooper. Andrew Heck at the plate. Cooper, the right-handed pitcher, versus Heck, the right-handed batter. Cooper looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 2-0. And this one's outside for a ball, so 3 straight balls from Zach Cooper out of the bullpen, and the count goes to 3 balls and no strikes. Does have 2 saves on the season. Cooper has his sign, the 3-0. And that one is outside ball 4. 4-pitch walk to start things here in the 9th. Has the leadoff man on for the Wild Things, and that brings up the shortstop, Austin Wobrock. Wobrock so far 0 for 1, grounded into a fielder's choice in the 5th, walked in the 3rd, and walked in inning number 7. Nobody out, top of the 9th, 8-0. Southern Illinois leading this one over your Washington Wild Things. Zach Cooper coming into the game to relieve Chris DeBoo. DeBoo went a scoreless inning, not walking anybody and striking out 2, giving up 1 hit. Cooper has his sign, the pitch, and Wobrock takes this one inside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Austin Wobrock. 5 straight balls out of the bullpen for Zach Cooper for the Miners. Cooper has his sign and the 1-0. And Wobrock takes this one for a strike. Count goes even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike here on the Wild Things shortstop. Wobrock has, or actually 1 for 2. He singled, walked, and hit into a fielder's choice. Has 1 of the team's 5 hits on the night. Cooper looking in, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch. And Wobrock lines this one foul off to the left. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count here on Austin Wobrock. Wobrock, the second-year man on this Wild Things team, was second on the team in RBIs last year, had 31, and hit 266 in last season with the Wild Things, returning here for his second year with the team. Zach Cooper looking in. Cooper has his sign, he's set. Checks first, and the 1-2 pitch. And way high for a ball. Count goes even at 2-2 as Moore had to jump out of the crouch to catch that baseball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Runner at first, Andrew Heck. He walked to lead off the inning. Count even here on Austin Wobrock. Zach Cooper looking in. Right-handed pitcher versus the left-handed batter, Wobrock. Cooper has his sign. He's set. And the 2-2. And Wobrock lines this one foul. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count. Austin Wobrock, as we said earlier, has only missed 3 games this season due to days of rest. He's the shortstop for this Washington Wild Things team. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody out. Top of the 9th. 8-0 Miners lead. Cooper has his sign. The pitch. And that one's high ball 3. Count goes full to Austin Wobrock. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Jamadrick Magruder, the on-deck batter, after Wobrock. Heck, the runner at first. 4 stolen bases on the year for Andrew Heck, tied for second on the team with Dave Popkins. Zach Cooper looks into Riley Moore. Cooper has his sign. He's set, and the 3-2. And this one grounded to second. Massey charging to second for 1, on to first, And the throw pulls the first baseman De Leon off the bag, so it's a fielder's choice. 4-6 on the putout. Wolbrock reaches. Heck retired at second. And that'll bring up the second baseman, Jamadric Magruder. Magruder so far 0 for 4. Grounded out in the first, grounded out in the third, flew out in the fifth, and popped out in inning number 7. Runner at first here with one man out, top of the ninth. 8-0 Southern Illinois leads here over the Washington Wild Things. Heck walked to start the inning, and then Wolbrock grounded into a fielder's choice. Zach Cooper looking in. Has his sign, he's set. Checks first, and the pitch to Magruder. And that one's in there for a strike at the knees. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on the Wild Things second baseman, Jamadric Magruder from Mesquite, Texas. Joined the Wild Things right before the All-Star break. Cooper has his sign, the 0-1, and this one line into right field. Coming on as early, he's not going to make the catch. Base hit for Jamadric Magruder. Magruder's first hit of the day, and there are runners at first and second for the Wild Things with one man out. 6th hit of the day for the Wild Things, and that'll bring up the designated hitter, Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez so far is 1 for 2. Flew out in the first, walked in the fourth, singled in the sixth, and walked in inning number 7. One out here in the top of the ninth. Runners at first and second for the Wild Things. Jamadric Magruder able to single into right field for the 6th hit of the day by the 6th different player. 6 hits by 6 players in this game for the Wild Things. Rodriguez at the plate, Wolbrock at second, Magruder at first. Cooper looks in. Has his sign, he's set, checks second, and the pitch on the way. And Rodriguez takes this one for a strike at the letters, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Ricky Rodriguez, the designated hitter for these Washington Wild Things. Austin Wolbrock stands at second, Magruder at first. Cooper looks in. Has his sign, he's set, and time is called as Cooper wants to go through the signs once more. No balls and a strike, the count here on Ricky Rodriguez. Cooper looking in, has his sign, he's set. Checks Wolbrock at second, the 0-1. And Rodriguez takes this one on the outside corner for a strike, no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on the Wild Things designated hitter. Grant Fink replacing him in the field at third base tonight. Rodriguez the DH. Cooper looks in, has his sign, he's set. And the 0-2 pitch. And that one's just outside for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count. Like to remind you, tomorrow night's game can be heard at 7:05 right here on the MSA Sports Network, right back here at Rent One Park. Game 2 of this 3-game series. Sam Agnew-Whelan taking the mound for your Wild Things, facing off against Brooks Trujillo. The pitch, and that one swung on and missed. Rodriguez strikes out, and that is out number 2. 2 away for the Wild Things here in the ninth, and that'll bring up the center fielder, Chris Grayson. Grayson so far 1 for 4. Flew out in the first, singled in the fourth, flew out in the sixth, and popped out in inning number 7. Runners at first and second. Austin Wolbrock at second. Jamadric Magruder at first. And Chris Grayson coming to the plate. Grayson 6 RBIs on the year in his short Wild Things career. 8 games, 6 RBIs for Grayson. So it's been doing a good job of driving in runs early on in his career with the Wild Things. See if he can do it here in the ninth. Cooper has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Grayson takes this one high for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Chris Grayson. Grayson left-handed batter facing Cooper, the right-handed pitcher. Cooper looks in to Riley Moore. Cooper has his sign. He's set. And the 1-0. And that one swung on and missed. 1 ball and 1 strike. Count even here to Chris Grayson. Wolbrock, the runner at second. He reached on a fielder's choice. Jamadric Magruder at first. He singled with 1 out in this 9th inning. Cooper looking in. Long look in. Now time is called as Riley Moore wants to go through the signs once more. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 men out here in the top of the ninth. 8-0 Southern Illinois leading. Cooper has his sign. He's set. And the 1-1 on the way. Grayson takes this one outside for a ball. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count on the Wild Things center fielder, Zach Cooper. Having to labor here through this inning. Walked the first man he faced on a 3-2 ground out, a 3-2 fielder's choice by Wolbrock. A single by Magruder and a strikeout of Rodriguez. Cooper has his sign, the 2-1. And this ball fouled off. Count goes even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 men out. Southern Illinois leading this one 8-0. Southern Illinois looking for their 40th win on the season. They're currently in first place here in the Frontier League West. Wild Things trying to get on the board here in the top of the ninth. Wobrock at second, and Dramadric Magruder at first. Fans on their feet here at Rent One Park. Cooper has his sign. He's set. Checks Wobrock at second. And the 2-2. Ground ball to first. Handled by De Leon. He'll take it to the bag himself. And this ball game is over. Final score, Southern Illinois 8 and your Washington Wild Things nothing. The winning pitcher is Jarrett Miller, improves to 5-2. The losing pitcher, Chase Cunningham, he falls to 3-6. Keep it tuned right here to the MSA Sports Network. We'll be back with your Washington Wild Things postgame show right here on the MSA Sports Network.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Final score in this one, Wild Things lose to the Southern Illinois Miners here in Game 1 by a score of 8-0. Scoring recap for you here. Southern Illinois got started early as they scored in the bottom of the first. Aaron Gates doubled on the third pitch of the ball game. And next batter, Shane Kennedy, an RBI double. Gates would score, and it was 1-0 Southern Illinois. Then Craig Massey, grounded out, moving a runner up to third with one man out before Alex De Leon hit a sacrifice fly. It made it 2-0 Southern Illinois in the bottom of the first. Nolan Early would single, and Steve Marino would ground out to end the inning. Then Southern Illinois kept off the board for the next 3 innings by Chase Cunningham. Starter Jarrett Miller for the Miners retired the first 8 Wild Things he faced, for Austin Wobrock reached on a walk in the third. Then Jamadric Magruder grounded out to end that inning. Wild Things would get their first hit in the fourth. Ricky Rodriguez walked. Chris Grayson singled. Dave Popkins would then hit into a 4-3 double play. Zach Fish would walk, and Jimmy Yeza would strike out to end the inning. Miners got back on the board in the bottom of the fifth. Aaron Gates flew out to start things. Then Shane Kennedy and Craig Massey back-to-back walks. And after a stolen base by each and a wild pitch, there were runners at second and third. With just one man out, Alex De Leon then came through with a 2 RBI double. And that made the score 4-0 Southern Illinois. That would be all in the night for Chase Cunningham. Would be relieved by Colin Stanley, and the first man Stanley faced, Nolan Early, hit an RBI single into right field. That scored De Leon and made the score 5-0 Miners. Then a 5-4-3 double play by Marino ended the inning. Final line on Cunningham went 4 1/3, gave up 5 runs, all earned on 6 hits, 6 walks, and no strikeouts. Picked up the loss in this one. Then in the bottom of the sixth, the Miners scored again. Kurt Wirtz Jr. doubled in deep left center field. Then Riley Moore flew out, and Francisco Rosario, a sac fly, brought in the 6th run of the ball game. It was 6-0 Southern Illinois. Aaron Gates would strike out to end the inning. A scoreless 7th for Colin Stanley. His final line, 2 2/3. Gave up a run. It was earned on 2 hits, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Then Ashton Parrott came on to pitch the bottom of the 8th, his second appearance with the Wild Things. Walked Kurt Wirtz Jr. and Riley Moore to start the inning. Then Francisco Rosario grounded out. Runners moved up to second and third with 1 out. A wild pitch during the Aaron Gates at bat allowed Kurt Wirtz Jr. to score. That made it 7-0 Miners. Then Aaron Gates would walk, and an RBI double by Shane Kennedy scored Riley Moore, made the score 8-0. Craig Massey would then walk to load the bases before a 6-4-3 double play by Alex De Leon ended the inning. Wild Things threatened in the top of the 9th against reliever Zach Cooper. Andrew Heck walked to start things. Austin Wobrock hit into a fielder's choice. Then Jamadric Magruder singled. Ricky Rodriguez struck out, and Chris Grayson grounded out to end the inning. Final score in this one, 8-0 Southern Illinois Miners. Jarrett Miller gets the win. His final line, 6 2/3 innings, gave up no runs, no earned on 4 hits, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts. The loss goes to Chase Cunningham. He falls to 3-6. His final line, 4 1/3, 5 runs, all earned on 6 hits, 6 walks, and no strikeouts. Next Wild Things broadcast tomorrow night, 7:05 p.m. right here on the MSA Sports Network. Game 2 of this 3-game series as Sam Agnew-Whelan takes the mound for your Washington Wild Things. He will be opposed by Brooks Trujillo in Game 2 of this 3-game series. Your Wild Things star of the night is going to go to We'll give it to Austin Woldbrock. Reached base all 4 at-bats. He walked his first time, hit the 2 fielders' choices, and singled 1 for 3 on the night. Austin Woldbrock, your Wild Things star of the game. Final score 8-0 Southern Illinois. Chase Cunningham the loss, Jarrett Miller the win. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night at 7:05. Thanks for listening to the MSA Sports Network. Final score in this one, Wild Things fall to the Southern Illinois Miners 8-0. Thanks for listening and have a good night, everybody.